Welcome to HipHopTalks.
Yo, yo.
How's everybody doing? Shawn, AG, what up? People, what up? What up? What up?
What's up to the chat?
Shout out to the chat, to the Discord, to all the people. Make sure you click like and subscribe to our page. I know I missed our episode where we went over 2K last episode, but we are officially over 2K. So congrats to us. Congrats to you guys. Thank you to all the people who have followed us, supported us, stay down with us, continue to help us grow. Click like, subscribe, share. Got another great show on the docket. Sorry I wasn't here last week. Life took over. The end.
Life be life.
Life be life. So, it's rare that I miss an episode, but had to take care of that. How y'all doing? How's your week's been?
Grinding, man. Grinding. It's good, though.
Okay, how we want to get started off? Y'all want to go ahead and jump right on in with some music anniversaries?
Let's do these anniversaries. Let's do the anniversaries. Shout out to the chat. I'm tagging y'all back right now. Pause. Shout out to the chat.
It started early.
Wow.
The chat tagging y'all.
I mean, I'm pretty certain it's only, 45, 60 seconds into the show?
Yeah, Shawn go get us flagged early.
Be no Skrilla for us this year, fellas. Be no Skrilla for us. Speaking of Skrilla, it rhymes with Skrilla, the name of Rick Ross's album, Trilla. Celebrated the anniversary March 11th, 2008. What are y'all thoughts on this early album for Rick Ross? I feel like this is like an album time and a point in Ross's career where Rick Ross wasn't the Rick Ross that he's recognized as now. But this album has something to do with his now legendary status. What are your thoughts on Trilla, AG?
Great album. Definitely not a classic. Like you said, Coop, this was early on in his career, and I think each project was ascending till he eventually hit that almost classic status record and Deeper Than Rap, in my opinion. But I love this. I love this album. First Maybach Music is on here. Classic record. One of my favorite J features of all time. I don't think it's even brought up enough, to be honest.
Hold on, Deeper Than Rap.
What's that?
You don't think Deeper Than Rap is a classic?
I mean, I do. I said this was the ascension to it. I think it's debatable. I consider it a classic, but some people may not, but I do. This got Luxury Tax on it. It's a lot of heat rocks on this album, and I'm a big fan of it. Shawn, I don't think he is, because everything that Ross puts out, Shawn hates. So
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Shawn's a hater.
No, don't do that. This is pre-hate for me. This is when I was actually rocking.
Okay.
This is when.
Yeah, I started hating on Ross like 2 years ago, going into a year and a half.
Okay. So the hatred is a recent bias. It's not an old bias. You didn't have a bias buy-in. Okay.
No, not at all. Not at all. This what I honestly felt that Ross was one of those. I'm be honest with you. I used to play The Boss all the time. That beat on The Boss was crazy. It's still
The Boss is crazy. The record's crazy.
This day, man. I had the Nissan Maxima on blast with that. Let them 808s.
These dudes, I want to let everybody know, these dudes have been in the background. We've been talking about Q45s and Chevy Cavaliers. What we're going to talk about next? The Corsica? What else? What else we got? A little 1956 Corvette.
Yeah, we should do a whole segment on hood cars. You know what I'm saying? Volkswagen Jettas. That was a hood classic right there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have the Pathfinder.
Yeah, Nissan Sentra.
For sure.
The 4Runner. The Toyota 4Runner.
Absolutely.
A 4Runner.
Yeah.
I still ride a 4Runner right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No doubt.
Hopping that thing real quick.
Can I ask y'all a question real quick before we slide to the next album?
Yeah, go ahead.
This was the point where I started to put Ross over Jeezy. And Coop, you being the down south guy, did you feel the same way when Trilla came out? Because I think this is the point where he passed Jeezy in my book.
I don't think he passed Jeezy, in my opinion, until God Forgives, and I don't. But I was more of a Jeezy fan earlier than a Ross fan, and became more of a Ross fan than a Jeezy fan later. I am a big fan of 103 by Jeezy. I think that is Jeezy's last great studio industry album. And so when you look at it early on, it's like, well, early on, Jeezy's got 101, The Recession, 103, and Trapper Die 1 or 2, in my opinion. And so I don't know. Even if he took him over, maybe in terms of notoriety, he took him over because this has Here I Am and Maybach Music and Luxury Tax, and so it's just more of a coming out party for him. So he might have passed him in notoriety, but I don't think he really passed him until God Forgives That I Don't. But I'm also biased, so
Okay.
And I love both artists, but was partial to Jeezy first and Ross later. Like I didn't really probably become a fan of Ross until Deeper Than Rap. Like Trilla was dope to me, but it wasn't the album that made me a fan. Deeper Than Rap is what made me a fan.
Yeah, I'm with that.
And I still think God Forgives and I Don't is his best project, and I do think that that's a classic.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree
with that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's slide to the next project, guys. Boogie Down Productions, Live Hardcore, March 12th, 1991. Shawn, this was a nice pull by you. I'm glad that we're actually like bringing this up. What are your thoughts about Live?
Hated it. No, I'm just kidding. No, you look, man. When you think about BDP, you think about KRS-One, of course. Other side, The Bridge Is Over, all of that was on this Live. And I think he played, if I remember correctly, he played that song several times during that Live as well. Not for the actual album itself, but just for the Live itself, right? He was also playing, of course, everything from the South Bronx, everything he was doing on there. And he was on the run. This was when KRS-One was at his zenith. This is when he was the philosopher, the teacher, all of the above. And he came off one of the biggest runs of a new artist coming out, and he's stomping all over Shan. Shout out to Shan. Queens get the money, but it is what it is. And he ascended really fast just off of that alone. And this, to me, was at the cherry on top, if you will, when it came down to where he went from Criminal Minded, and then you transition into this later on. I think 91 when this came out, 91 was a live joint, right? So now you're talking about 91 on the cusp of a new wave of hip hop. And this was like the bookend to that 88, 89, 90 era. And then you have this in 91 before you get to the new cusp of hip hop. And he did his thing, man. So that's how I feel about it. Like, again, you know how I feel about BDP, KRS-One, and everything they did to Queens at one point.
Everything they did to Queens.
Yeah, you got to give respect to it, though. You got to give respect to it.
Yeah.
AG, what are your thoughts?
Hey man, Blast Master KRS. I mean, this album and live performance shows why he's one of the best ever to do it. If he, even if you don't have KRS in your top 10, say what you will, like he's definitely one of the best performers we've ever seen on the mic. He's the definition of an MC in that regard as far as controlling, moving the crowd. And this is a testament to that. What I was kind of wondering, I don't know for a fact, but was this the first live album in rap that was put out? Because I can't think of any before it.
I want to say Hammer did one.
Get out my head, Shawn.
But wasn't it around the same time though?
It feels like it might have been the same time because
it was roughly the same. I do remember the Hammer album you're talking about, but I think it was roughly the same time because this is 91. But maybe somebody in the chat can fact check. Somebody in the chat can fact check that for us. But I was just wondering that when we was talking about this album, is it the first live album by a rap artist that was put out? But KRS-One is one of the best performers live there is. Period.
The teacher, man.
I tell you what. It seems crazy to say this, but for where we are in 2025, KRS-One is actually starting to be underrated, guys. He's actually starting to be criminally underrated, and here's why. Because if you actually look at his catalog, like if you look at the Boogie Down Productions catalog, the Boogie Down Productions catalog is enough to get him in top 10 consideration.
Yeah.
Then you actually have his quote-unquote solo work. And to me, the Boogie Down Productions work is pretty much solo work anyway. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you look at, well, what do you want out of the MC? Do you want longevity? Because it's like, well, he's got that in spades. Literally, the only guy that rivals that that's still walking around is LL. What do you want? You want skills because, well, his peer group are Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, and Slick Rick and Cool G Rap. It's like, how much more elite of a peer group do you want for upper echelon MC? What would you like? Would you like all-time great storytelling songs? Well, he has those. He's got Love's Gonna Get You. You want all-time great albums? He's got Criminal Minded and By All Means Necessary. You want just dope-ass rap records? He's got Sound of the Police, Black Cop, Step Into a World, Oh Yeah, MCs Act Like They Don't Know, Rappers Are in Danger, Jack of Spades. It's like he's actually becoming criminally underrated. It's Criminal Minded that he's criminally underrated.
All-time classic rap songs and albums.
He's got the voice. He's got the live performance. Think about it. He's got everything. Like, so when you're saying, AG, the fact that he's not considered by some to be top 10 is the part about it where it's like, are we tripping? We might be tripping.
Well, I'll go ahead and lump myself in that group because I'm in that crowd. I don't have KRS in my top 10, but I think it would be a travesty if you put him anything lower than 20, but for me, is at what point do we call longevity too much? Because we just got through talking about what Busta was doing last week, and putting out projects, and at some point you got to hang it up. So KRS got like 25 or more albums. And
KRS's last project was dope though. Who Wanna Be an MC? That was actually a dope project.
But would you agree that his catalog is pretty top heavy?
Define top heavy. When you're saying top heavy, what do you mean, AG?
He has classics, no question about it. And those are all-time great rap albums, but the rest of it, a lot of the latter stuff is forgettable. And I mean that respectfully.
How about this? His top 10 is as good as anybody's top 10 this side of Nas or Scarface or Jay. It is. It's like his top 10, his best 10 albums, you can sit them next to Common and Cube. And I mean, because I think you could say that about a lot of other guys. He's just been doing it longer, so he has more product that you can say that about. But if you want to talk about the top heavy stuff, it's like, well, go look at like the 5 or 6 Boogie Down production albums and his best 4 solo projects, and it's like, oh no, that rivals anybody's 10 best this side of Nas, in my opinion. At this point.
I'm glad you brought that up because like me and one of my friends was talking about this before. Like when judging the GOATs, sometimes you have to go to their not so favorable work because everybody's peak stuff you can kind of like it's interchangeable, if you will, all these classics going around. So when I'm judging somebody, let's pull out their worst work. Shout out to our Discord, man. Like our Discord is always on fire. Like today we was having a conversation about Nas's catalog and where we ranked like Magic 2 or Streets Disciple, Untitled, the Lost Tapes 2 or something like that. And I said I had Magic 2 like 13th in his catalog. You know what I'm saying? So who else, has an album of that quality as their 13th best project? So I think that's what, and not saying it's a bad one, but when we rate the bottom tier of your catalog, if you will, I think that's a separator when we're talking about the GOATs.
Also, okay, so I understand what you're saying when you say that. It's like, well, at their worst, like, what's their batting average when they're at their worst? And so I understand that when you're saying that. But then there's stuff like this. Like, let's take BDP's live hardcore, and then, like, let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
This is the worst Boogie Down production album. What are you talking about? You get what I'm saying? It's like, this is their week. This is their low moment as a group.
Yeah. But you're right, Coop. He is underrated overall, like in the grand scheme.
How about this? You all remember Blaze Magazine?
Oh,
yeah.
Blaze Magazine did a top 50 MCs in like, what was that, 1999?
Yeah. It was 98 or 99.
Okay, so think about it. That was 26, 27 years ago. He was number 2 on that list when that list came out.
As he should be.
He was number 2. It was Rakim.
Rakim was one. I do remember that.
Biggie was 3rd. Yeah. Kane was 4th. LL was 5th. I forget who was 6th. I feel like Ice Cube might have been 6th. Jay was 7th. Slick Rick was 8th. No, Jay was 9th. They had Nas at like 15. It was, but what I'm saying is that like literally a quarter century ago, he was in conversation like as the greatest MC of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think his catalog has been that subpar that he should slide to the back end of the back 20. Like, how about this, AG? You have Kendrick and Jadakiss ahead of him, right?
Yes.
Explain to me your actual like I know it's a personal thing, but do you have an objective argument that's credible?
Jadakiss would be harder to defend because, you know, by definition, he doesn't have a classic album to the people. Like, I consider Kiss the Game Goodbye close to a classic. But for me, ranking him as high as I do, I think Jadakiss has been maintained a level of excellence for longer than KRS-One has. You know what I mean? Although KRS is still good, Jadakiss has never took a dip in 25 years. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my justification for Kiss, which is harder to do. Kendrick, I think he's just had too many big impact moments to not have him ahead of KRS, because Kendrick got classic albums too. We got to call it what it is. But his impact in the game, I think at this juncture has been bigger than KRS's. So I think that would be the buy-in for Kendrick.
Okay, if I could give you a quick rebuttal before we slide, my rebuttal to both of those would be is that, well, Jadakiss doesn't know about KRS's highs because he hasn't made as many classic albums as KRS, because KRS has classic
not even
albums.
Close.
So he doesn't operate actually. Like, this is my thing with Kiss. It's like, well, you don't operate, even though you operate on the mic on the level of KRS. Can't rate you ahead of KRS because KRS operates on the mic like you do, operates live better than you do, and that's saying a lot because Kiss is dope live, but he also operates in album making mode better than you. And I would tell you, he actually does all of those things better than Kendrick too. And that's why, and that's why I was asking you that. Shawn, you have anything to add before we go to the next one?
No, y'all smoked that. I'm good.
Gangstar's Hard to Earn, March 8th, 1994. Shawn, Hard to Earn. Tell me your thoughts. Gangstar's second best album?
I think it is.
Album. Best moment.
I think it's the second or the third. I'm leaning more so. I'm leaning more so the third best album.
Third?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Production. Okay, hold on.
Explain yourself.
Third?
Explain yourself to the public.
What do you guys
Explain
think?
yourself to the people.
It could be second. It could be second. No. I'm thinking.
What about it makes it third to you?
The production. No. I'll go back to second. The production. I'm thinking about the production of Primo. I think this is where Primo really started finding that sound, because Primo was tinkering around a lot with his sound leading up to this album. A lot. And you're talking about everything that he was doing outside of just the Gangstar, just the Gangstar Collective. I'm just talking about in general. But when you get to this album, you start hearing the classic Primo style, the style that we are known Primo for at this point here. And I felt that Guru was so sharp on this one. This might teeter-totter in between. I wasn't arguing about it. They said this is number one, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Because now I'm thinking about it. Guru.
Sean, I'm back from 3 to 1.
I'm thinking I'll get some of the albums mixed up, but
thinking in real time.
First of all, let me tell you what you did. You ran from one side of the bridge, and then we pulled you off. And then you proceeded to run to the other side of the bridge.
I'm thinking in real time. I'm thinking
covering all bases.
Covering all bases.
Covering all bridges too.
Something on the land. I don't know where it's going to land, but something on the land. If you cover all bases, something got to land. But I think I would give it number 2, and that's more so because of the production. I do think that Guru was really sharp on here, but I think the production, for me, might be some of the collective of Primo's beats, like the best that I've heard in this one. As a collection. I'm not talking about highs versus lows versus mid. I'm talking about just steady Eddie throughout the entire album.
Go ahead, Coop. I know you want to wax poetic about Moment of Truth. Go ahead.
No, I'm not even about to do that. I would tell you that here's what I would tell you. Hard to Earn is their second best album because these beats are great, but these are what I like to call cypher beats.
Yes.
Okay.
These beats are great to cypher to.
That was the era.
Right.
You got mass appeal on here. I mean, so
that's what I mean. It's the ultimate cypher beat. Ultimate cypher beat. So that's what I would say before I wax poetic. Go ahead, AG.
I was just going to say, I think it's close. I personally have Moment of Truth because to what Shawn was saying, from the moment you press play to the record ends, Moment of Truth is his, magnum opus as far as Primo's concerned, and I hope he tops that with this Nas album, but that remains to be seen. But this album, it's a close second, but The Wick and Mass Appeal is two of the greatest hip hop songs of all time. So the highs are extremely high on here. But it's just like from, like Coop says, the end-to-end player, Moment of Truth edges it. But this right here, another classic in their catalog, man.
Can I tell you all something right quick? I'm not as big as Dwick on it. I'm not as big on Dwick as everybody else is. I love this. It's not. I don't think it's like as all-time great as everybody else thinks it is. Mass Appeal is like that. Like Mass Appeal,
Mass Appeal might be one of the greatest beats of all time.
Oh yeah, it's up there.
It's up there.
I mean, everybody loves The Wick. That's the first time I've heard anybody say that. Even Primo ranked it in his own catalog high.
How about this? No, how about this? It's one of those records that I love it. I don't love it the way everybody else loves it. Like the way people respond when it comes on, I don't respond that way necessarily. You get what I'm saying?
You like Speak Your Clout? Speak Your Clout. That's my joint.
Speak Your Clout's good. Hold on. Which one is? Hold on. No.
That's the one with J-Roo.
Just to Get a Rep's not on here.
No.
No, that's on
which is one of Guru's best storytelling tracks ever.
I love Just to Get a Rep. That's top 10-ish Gangstar record to me.
Yep.
Yeah. Is this album a classic before we go to the next one? Is it a classic?
Yes.
I think it is. Let me ask you all this. Where do y'all hold Guru? Where do y'all rank Guru? It's in your top 20s in your
I don't want to answer that question. I don't want to answer that.
We don't talk about that. And I don't hear Guru's name in
Shawn, you want to know what? Guru might be the most difficult MC to rate of all time.
That's why I don't want to talk about it, man. Rest in peace to Guru, man.
It is so difficult to rate him appropriately because he has so many intangible qualities.
Yeah.
As an MC that represent hip hop properly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That he probably doesn't get his just due, but on the juxtaposition of that is the fact that there were so many guys that did kind of like, how about this? Like Guru very much content-wise is very comparable to Nas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not Nas on the mic. And I think that's the main thing that he suffers from is that for what he provides content-wise, there's a Tupac and a Nas, right in between that. And so I think Tupac and Nas actually have something to do with him probably not being as notarized, because if those two guys don't exist, his commentary and his content probably shines a little more because he's very much of that ilk in terms of his social commentary, political, socioeconomic analysis of Black life, his hip hop roots, his educational and fundamental speaking in terms of you understand every word that is coming out of his mouth.
Yes.
Yeah, you smoked that, Coop. You hit the nail on the head, and I didn't want to do this, but you're right. He is the hardest MC to rank. And if you listen to some features on Gangstar albums, you can hear why and the difference. Like you said, he does everything really good, but just not good enough. And I don't mean this disrespectfully, but it almost comes off as like when he's rhyming next to somebody of that ilk that, he's a good storyteller. But if he rhymes somebody against next to somebody else that's a good storyteller, Guru almost comes off as basic. And I don't mean that in a bad way. And, his voice with the monotone style, which he leaned into that. But it's almost like you said, Coop, he does everything well in hip hop, but it's almost like, I don't know how many video gamers we got out there in the chat. Shout out to my son or whatever. But, you play a game and then you got, all the exclusive like skins and stuff you have on the game. But it's almost like Guru is the default for a dope MC, if that makes sense with the analogy.
You want to know what he is? And AG, you're right about the analysis. He's actually the definition of what a B-list MC is, respectfully. And I mean that in a respectful way, because here's the thing. AG, when you go to the storytelling, we'll go to him versus Scarface on Betrayal, and it's like, you see the separation when he's next to a Scarface. You see the separation lyrically when he's next to an Inspect the Deck.
Right.
Or even a Crumb Snatcher on Make 'Em Pay.
Yes.
You feel me? When he's next to those guys, you realize, no, he's dope enough to be there, but he's not the guy. How about this? You want to know what would have even been doper? I think if Guru, you know what, if he would have been the second hand in a group and not the lead MC, like imagine if he was with a Q-Tip or if he was with a Pasanus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
complimentary piece. Yeah.
Imagine if he was the alternative and not the lead actor. Like rest in peace to him who just died. In a lot of ways, you know who Guru is? He's our Gene Hackman in a lot of ways. Like Gene Hackman was never really the guy, but he would always played an important part in a lot of important movies. And a couple of times he had some moments, Moment of Truth being one of those moments, Unforgiven being Gene Hackman's moment where you're like, oh man, this guy is phenomenal. But for the most part, he was the supporting actor to the lead.
Yes. That's great. And I think the mid-90s evolution of the MC hurt him. Because by standards in the early 90s, Guru was like top tier.
That's fair.
That mid-90s evolution hurt him.
It's because
how about this? How about this? You say he was top tier. Do you think he was better than Q-Tip? Because I would tell you no.
No, it was Q-Tip had better style, stylistically. But I'm just talking about lyrically, like, you know what I'm saying, straight down the middle. Like, he was the prototypical, like, lyrical MC or whatever. And then the evolution of that where cats got more lyrical and more, like, braggadocious and had more style, more flavor. I think, like I said, Guru's the default. It's not that the default's bad. You know what I'm saying? It's just that everybody else got exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, his style is the way his delivery. Because if you compare his delivery to those who have very similar, like Jizza, for example, very similar monotone, but Jizza went so deep. Pause, like his depth was crazy.
Yes,
and I mean, go to Liquid Swords. There's nothing that I don't think that Guru could have done to be able to handle something for Liquid Swords. Be honest. And
yeah, like when you're doing create a player or whatever, like we was talking about the NBA 2K, like you can, you know, all the attributes, you can, you know what I'm saying, make them better, whatever. But it's like Guru was steady Eddie, man. Like he was just, you know, the basics, like really good at everything, but just not great.
And let me ask y'all this. Someone ask you this real quick, Coop and AG, because he was with Primo, one of the best producers of all time, top 5, maybe, right? Arguably top 5.
No, he's top 5. No, he's top 5. Preem is still top 5. Even to this day, Preem's top 5. Yeah, Preem's top 5.
I got him number 2.
If he had that in his arsenal, right? Where would you rank him amongst the artists who rapped over Primo beats?
I mean, he can't.
He's not gonna crack top 5.
On his best day, he's 4th because there's Big J and Nas, so that's already off the board.
But Primo did a lot of work with KRS. We just got through talking about KRS.
He did. I'm a Blunt Getting Smoked. That's actually one of the first Primo beats outside of Gangstar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And KRS, he did MCs Act Like They Don't Know and Rappers Are in Danger.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's so he's 5th.
I might give him 5th at best, showing him love.
I'm about to say Big L on Platinum Plus.
Now it's a lot of rappers that sound better because their voices cut through the track better than Guru, but they don't have enough work with Primo. I would say that's Big L. I would say that's AZ. AZ sounds flawless over Primo beats. Rakim sounds flawless on Primo beats.
Hey, look here. The Come Up by AZ is one of my favorite A records. That shit is silky.
I would love an AZ Primo album just as much as the Nas and Primo album.
That's like a top 10 AZ record for me.
Right. But good question, Shawn. That's a very good question.
It is an excellent question. All right, to another legendary MC, more music anniversary, Scarface with the Untouchable, March 11th, 1997.
Face Mob.
Mob. Right. I love this project, guys. I think it really suffers from the fact that it came after his best project. AG, take it away. That's it. Like, that's the problem. When I go back and listen to this album, because when this album came out, I didn't love it, but I was still playing The Diary when The Untouchable came out, too. That's how dope The Diary was.
The Diary is unquestionably a classic. This one I struggle with because I think it has classic elements. But when we talk about Face, I think he has two in the possible. I think The Diary and The Fix are the bona fide classics, and I think this is the possible. But like I said,
this is the possible, not Mr. Scarface is back. You don't think Mr. Scarface is back as a classic?
When Mr. Scarface's back was out, I was a little kid and he was my favorite rapper, him and Ice Cube. But I don't consider that a classic, being honest. But yeah, man. The highs on here is crazy though. With Mary Jane, you know, one of his best songs. Smile with Pac. The highs are crazy, but this album was in heavy rotation when it came out in '97 for me. I love this album personally. I would give it 4.5 mics for me.
Wow.
Shawn?
I hold this album high as well. But I think about 97, and I think about the year of 97 was really the year of the golden, you know, the shiny suit era started out in 97. And I think this album and so many other albums that were really great probably didn't fit the aesthetics of 97 musically. And this album kind of stand up by itself. You know, you got Smile as an outlier. Smile is a phenomenal record, one of the best records out there. But you're talking about a lot of glitz and glamour songs in 97. 97 was really loud. A lot of loud music in 97. And this just wasn't that loud. But to me, I would give it a 4.5, along with you, AJ. I want to give it a classic. But 4.5 is reasonable for me.
So I think for me, in reflection, when I look back on it, this is actually the start of one of the best rap careers in history, and nobody really talks about it because really, I personally am with you, AG. A lot of people from the era prior to us think Mr. Scarface is back as a classic. We were kids when it came out, much like you. I love Scarface and Ice Cube, mostly because I was scared of them, and that excited me.
Right, the booming voices.
Right. Yeah. Like, man, this nigga sound like he might kill my. He'd be like, man, this nigga sound like he might kill my whole neighborhood. Cut that shit off.
Right.
But if you actually look at Scarface's catalog, Mr. Scarface is back. Well, AG, I would tell you that's 4.5. I would tell you that The World Is Yours is probably his weakest album from that era in the 90s, and that's probably a 4. The Diary's a 5. This is another 4.5. It's actually, if you look at it, it's a start to one of the better rap careers in history.
And you didn't even bring up the Ghetto Boys albums.
No. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about his solo, his work as a solo artist, like as a true solo artist. If I'm not mistaken, Dr. Dre did a track on here. Has Look Into My Eyes on here. There's a lot of heat on here, guys. And you want to know what it really is? And Shawn, you were right. It was because of the year that it came out. It's the most underrated rap album of 1997. That's what it is.
It is. Did Dr. Dre do Faith? Who did Faith?
I forget what record it is. It's one of the records in the back, but Dre did a record on here too. Like this album, it had some pieces on here. Like it was really like his coming out party because it went platinum because of the Pac and the Smile thing.
From a commercial standpoint, yes. Yep.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like people got acquainted with it, but when people go back to 1997, people always go back to, they go back to Wu-Tang Forever. Go back to Life After Death. Go back to, of course, Puff Daddy and the Family No Way Out. Go to Wyclef Jean's The Carnival. But if you actually look at Southern rap in 1997, you're actually not going to find a better product than Scarface's The Untouchable.
You're not. It's just aesthetically, it just didn't fit 97. 97 was really taking a big turn.
No, that's the thing about it. If you actually listen to it, this is Scarface making it fit for that era. That's as far as this is as much compromising as he's doing is what I'm saying.
Good point, Coop. Other than The Fix, this is his most commercially viable album.
This and The Fix are his commercially viable products.
Yep. You kind of had to be plugged in with Scarface at this time.
You know what The Fix is? The Fix is him just mastering what he had done on this album years prior. Because it's the same. It has the same approach to the project. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I think, ain't no thinking, to the best classic album that we're covering of all the classic albums that we're covering.
Right.
Tupac's Me Against the World on my nephew's birthday, March 14th, 1995.
This is yours, Coop.
Shout out to my nephew, Judah. I mean, you want to know what? I realized this today, and I know that the production on Machiavelli and on All Eyes on Me Book 1 and Book 2 is superior to Me Against the World. But when people are talking about Tupac, and people are talking about the artist, the rapper, the actor, the man, the icon, guys, this is the album.
Yes.
This is the icon moment. This is the legendary moment. This is the moment in time. All Eyes on Me and Machiavelli are the moment after the big moment happened. This is the moment in his career. These are the songs, guys. This is the writer at his zenith. What you're listening to on All Eyes on Me is the MC at his zenith. The guy on All Eyes on Me and Machiavelli is the MC at his zenith. The writer is at his zenith on this project. His best records, his most heartfelt records, what he's known for, the things that put him in the conversation to be the greatest MC of all time, the things that he does not have that other artists have, that shit that Big has, that shit that Jay and Nas have, that Rakim has, that KRS has, that he does not have. This is where he beats them all, guys, because he can write a record that makes you feel exactly what it is that he's trying to make you to feel. It's the hardest thing to do in hip hop. Nobody did it better, and nobody did it better on one album than he did it on this album. 2 of his 5 best songs, in my opinion, are on this album. That's Dear Mama and So Many Tears. And that's not counting Temptations. That's not counting Temptations. Death Around the Corner. Oh my God! Like the writing on here is stellar. When people talk about some Nobel Peace Prize winning worthy writing, this is the album that should have got a Nobel Prize for its writing, a Pulitzer for its writing. That's how heartfelt and touching and conflicted and young and ambiguous, like he's everything on this project as a writer. The MC's not there yet, the production's not there yet, but where he is as a writer, a songmaker, literally makes up for all of that and transforms it into a classic. So for people that are saying it's not a classic because of their production, you're wrong. For people that are saying that it's not a classic because of the lyricism or what they quote unquote is not classic bar seminar lyricism, you're wrong. This is kind of like, actually, for the same year, this is very comparable. Like what he did on this album is very comparable to the team that Akeem carried to the championship that year. He's 95 Olajuwon on this album. It's like, oh no,
same year.
The team ain't great, but that motherfucker is one of the best motherfuckers that ever lived on this project. You feel what I'm saying? Just like Akeem in that postseason. For that postseason, it's like, oh no, he just as good as Kareem ever was for that postseason. As good as Russell ever was, as good as Chamberlain, Shaq. Oh, for right there, because he took a team that had no business even making it to the conference finals to another championship. That's who Pac is on this album. Does it have a business? It has no real business being a classic outside of the fact that he is so fucking legendary on there, guys.
He's flawless.
He is so legendary on there. It literally carries the album into classic territory the way that very few artists have and the way very few artists can. Yes. Imagine if he would have had the beats that DMX had, the It's Dark and Hell is Hot for Me Against the World. It'd be one of the 5 best rap albums of all time.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Those are my thoughts. Your turn. Go ahead. I can talk about this album all day. This is the album that I played. This is the album that I played on the city bus going from school on the west side of town back to where we had moved to the south side of town and back and forth. Like I can remember, like this was the project. He was going triple platinum in jail.
Yes.
Going triple platinum in jail. He nigga was in prison. He was going triple platinum. Every neighborhood, every barbecue at night.
This album was Pac in its purest form. This album was Pac in its purest form. This was before the lore. This was before the noise, the everything that came along with him joining Death Row. Think about it, guys. This came in 95, right? 96 was the explosion because everything swirling around it. You had all the news around him. You had everything that was happening. This was the beginning of the legend of Tupac. And you got a song like Old School, where he's playing Old Day. He having an Old Day to the old school of hip hop. New York hip hop at that. So you got Pac in his most vulnerable moment because you had the shooting. You got shot. He had the situation with the cops. You had all these things going on with him. But the pen, like you said, Coop, the pen work in his album is phenomenal because this is. I always felt this was Pac at his most honest moment. Honestly, I feel like this was Pac at his most honest moment. All Eyes on Me, maybe a little bit, bloviated just a little bit because things swirling around, and then the enigma of being with Death Row. Then you got
machismo,
machismo, right? Because now you got I got
the rap bravado is All Eyes on Me.
Bingo.
Rap bravado.
Because I have to lean into it now. I have to lean into.
I have to live it. I have to live it all the way out now.
I have to take it all the way out. But with this album. And I think the reason why this album is not as lauded as you eloquently put it, Coop, is because you have All Eyes on Me and everything around it. Because you have Machiavelli and everything around it. All of the noise and the storylines that goes along with those two albums, it really doesn't capture anything on this album right here. And this album right here is the most purest form. It's like Nas' lost tape. It's Nas' purest form. His most vulnerable form. Where he doesn't care about the sales. He doesn't care about anything else. He's care about this is my pen and me, my pen, my paper, and me. And this is what I felt like this album was: his pen, paper, and himself.
Think about this. This album actually, in terms of who he is, doesn't have any commercially viable singles. If you actually look at it, like they did, no. The record label didn't know Dear Mama was going to be that. You want to know how you know they didn't know? Because they made Temptations the first single. They didn't know Dear Mama was going to move like that.
Bingo.
You know what?
Temptations, and I love Temptations, but Temptations isn't even I Get Around or Keep Your Head Up, which was the previous album. So this album wasn't even like built around. It's not like this album was built around bangers.
Bingo.
Right.
That's All Eyes on Me. All Eyes on Me got the bangers. Those are bangers.
Oh, yeah.
Just
for
bangers
sure.
for days, banger after banger after banger after banger. These are the songs, guys. These are the songs.
Man, listen,
God,
y'all smoked that, man. Y'all both said things that I think are like astute points because Shawn, you said this is Pac in its purest form. Think the same thing. The perfect dichotomy of who Pac was as a man is captured on this album. Like, it's real polarizing, and we get that tug of war of who he is as a person, right? Coop, you spoke to like Pac was the only person who could make you, feel things on a certain level. I remember when this album came out, I was 14 years old. It came out the day before my birthday. You know what I'm saying? I got this album, and listen, man, like Pac, when I listen to Pac, I would listen to Pac differently than everybody else because most of the time you put on music, it'll be in the background, you're doing something, playing video games, hooping, whatever, outside with your people. I would listen to Pac. I would go in my room to cut everything off and just zone. You know what I'm saying? When I listen to Pac, you know what I mean? Because he would tap into a different part of my brain. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, and Coop, you spoke to the singles. Real quick before that, Shawn, you spoke to this as him in his purest form with the lost tapes. Just, no frills. This album he didn't even get to promote or put this album out. It was sequenced and put out when he was in prison. He didn't even get the final say on none of that, right?
I'm about to say he didn't even sequence the album.
Correct. And then to your point, Coop, with the singles, this joint went double, triple platinum while he was in jail. Off singles, he was not in one single video. Temptations, not in the video. Dear Mama, not in the video. And then So Many Tears, not in the video. And Coop, I thought you was in my brain, man, when you said 2 of the top 5 Pac songs on this record. For me personally, I have 2 of my favorite 5 pop songs, 2 out of my 5 favorite Pac songs on this record. So Many Tears is my favorite Pac song of all time. But coming in my number 5th spot is If I Die Tonight, which I personally think is arguably.
Die Tonight, oh my God.
I think that's arguably. I know you say he's a better MC on All Eyes on Me and Machiavelli.
That's the best mic performance on me.
To this day, other than Against All Odds. Against All Odds is maybe the one I would put up against it. Mm-hmm. But If I Die Tonight, for me, is Pac's best mic performance as an MC.
Yeah.
I feel the way about My Block on the show soundtrack that you feel about If I Die Tonight, because when I look at the mic performance, you want to know what it is. I see what the guy can be. And so I think that If I Die Tonight is the guy that's on Machiavelli as an MC, and that's the first time that you hear it, and I think that's why it stays with you so hard, because you really don't hear that guy as an MC again until Machiavelli.
No. And people say Pac wasn't an MC. What he was doing with all the P words, and if I die tonight, like how he wove them together. Come on, bro.
But how about this? He used alliterations, particularly with the letter P, a lot. Picture perfect. I paint a perfect picture. Bomber hoochies with precision, my intention. He did that all the time.
He did.
He did that all the time. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about. Well, Guru was like that, but he wasn't like his. AG, it goes back to what you're saying about being talented and being gifted. Well, Pac was gifted as a writer the way literally only a handful of people who have ever touched the microphone have been gifted as a writer. And when I mean the microphone, I don't mean the microphone in a hip-hop context. As a writer.
That's right.
He is as rare as it gets as a writer. He is one of the best writers in the history of music. Like people have to understand this. It's like Dear Mama as a song. The only song that rivals its cultural importance is Fight the Power by Public Enemy. Like, we can talk about where you want to rank the song all the time. In terms of cultural relevance and importance, it's only rivaled by Fight the Power by Public Enemy, which is literally our Black superhero theme music song.
Right.
Like, literally. That's the only song that competes with it on a content cultural relevance level.
It's up there, man.
Vulnerability.
He wrote it while he was on the verge of going to prison.
Super classic, man. Everything about this is super classic.
It's not like his mother was like in danger of dying. That's what I mean about it being heartfelt. It was actually his life in jeopardy, not hers. Like,
and it was transparent. The things that he was saying on record wasn't even flattering about his mama. He put out there that she was a crack fiend, but it was a real record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The sacrifice and the struggle that, you know, she had to make as a mother. Like, I mean, it's just heartfelt, man. Even if that's not your story, it still hits you right here. You know what I mean? So,
and not many can do that. Not many artists can do that.
No. Scarface, DMX.
Yeah.
Outside of that, everybody else operates on.
Nas with Dance. I can't listen to that song.
Okay, I mean, okay.
Ghost is up there.
Nas and Ghost have moments. Nas and Ghost have moments where they shift into that pocket. Like Scarface and DMX live there a little bit.
They don't know. Yeah, they
DMX, Scarface, Pac, and we'd be remiss if we didn't say Joe Budden, man. Mood music.
Joe, yes, not on the same level though, in my opinion. But
he's up there.
For a moment in time. For a moment in time, yes.
Yeah.
So let's get to these super chats and then we can slide to the new music. Let's start with Shawn. You want to pull them up for me because they're way past. Queens get the money. We in the building. 007. What up, 00? Sorry I missed your call. Busy week. Kenny. What up, Kenny? Hey, Coop. Moment of flutes. First of all, go ahead and ban Kenny. Go ahead and ban Kenny from the thread. Go ahead and ban Kenny from the chat. Let's go ahead and get you out of here. You're not going to do that today. Not going to do that today. This behavior is wild. We got any more super chats? I feel like we got a couple more. Did we miss some?
Was it? That was it. Hold up. Yeah, we got one more. Double.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Welcome back, Coop. Wu-Tang forever. What up, fellas? Oh my God.
Double is a piece of shit, man. Double is a piece of shit.
That is petty. You and Kenny,
double stay petty. You gotta know Double, man. Double be always stirring up shit to this point.
When you and Kenny come down here, I'm gonna put you both off in the car. I'm gonna let you off at 285 by Spaghetti Junction in Doraville and let you all cross the street. About 10 lanes of traffic and about 4 bridges. That's what I got.
Double ain't shit.
All right. Yo, shout out to Double all the way from Australia, man. Shout out to Dub, man.
Yeah. Drop your ass off on Pleasant Hill. We'll see how you do then.
Yo, so
all right, we got new music in the building. We got a new Freddie Gibbs track. Is it? This sounds like a Lucy. This a Lucy?
Freddie Gibbs crazy. Yeah, I think it's a Lucy.
Yo, real quick for all my Marvel fans, Shawn, I saw a comment on the YouTube of this. It said that's Luke Cage with Misty Knight and Jessica Jones getting coffee. But I said the one chick looked more like Claire, but
that is wild. That is wild.
Go ahead.
Yo, y'all got me listening to Freddie Gibbs. I'm be honest with you. Both of you guys got me listening to Freddie Gibbs.
Don't do this. You don't like Freddie? You don't
no,
like
I like
Freddie?
Freddie. I like Freddie. I like Freddie. We had that debate around Freddie, so y'all got me listening to Freddie a little bit more. Freddie went crazy on this joint. Freddie on the R&B track, on an old school R&B track, is golden, man. He doesn't miss.
Fire.
He doesn't miss with these. I mean, he's talking about forget the big three. Like he really want that smoke, and it made me realize the conversation we had a few months ago was ahead of time. Shout out to us for being ahead of time, because other people are taking fragments of what we talk about and make shows out of it. Shout out to them as well. Thank you for the alley oops. But
no. I'm not shouting them out. Fuck them.
You gotta shout out to them. You gotta give them love, man. Because they show love.
No. You can show love on your side. Fuck you.
It's confused admiration. It's confused admiration.
That's what Nas said.
It's confused admiration. But
no, it's just confused.
It's confused admiration. But Freddie went crazy on this, and it made me realize y'all were right. I concede to it. You guys are right. Freddie should have been in the conversation at some point. Freddie probably should be in the conversation more so than Big Shawn was when Big Shawn was part of that, maybe that outside fourth man. Because when I went back to listen to Freddie's stuff a little bit more, Freddie catalog is right there.
Coming around. That's what I'm talking about.
Victory. AG, is this not AG? We're getting timestamps for this show. The timestamps for this moment, the moment Shawn admits Freddie belongs.
Yo, he showed Rick Ross some love. He showed Freddie some love. Yo, do we got a Jay-Z segment where he can say something good about Jay?
That's probably not going to happen.
I won't, but we'll get into that later. But pause.
There you go. Asking for Christ to come back. All right, we gonna settle for Peter and Paul. Okay,
you guys are dead spot on. Because when I listened to this song, I had to go back and listen to some other songs, and he's all this on R&B tracks.
I need a whole album of that, bro.
Hold on. So hold on. So can we just sidebar real quick and go into something about the record? So. Yeah. This is one of the beautiful things about hip hop, Shawn, and I'm glad that you're highlighting. And I think all three of us heard the same thing. Freddie, and I realize this. Freddie comes from same place that the Jacksons come from. He comes from an old school Midwest R&B, soul and blues town. Mm-hmm. Freddie's onto something with these R&B samples. He sounds excellent on them. He needs to explore this pocket. It is rare that an artist is as great as he already is, that has the catalog that he already has, that you're at this point in his career and you hear something from an artist where you're like, hold on. It's like, I didn't know that your style fit with that cadence and that rhythm and that tempo, but when those worlds seem to mesh together, it makes for excellent rap music.
Flawless. For those who don't know, the sample of this one is SWV's Anything. Like that.
Right. He needs to... The Use Your Heart joint, he needs to explore this pocket was really my takeaway from this song. Is that literally the producers, like he need about 20 of these and you take the best 5.
Wait, he rapped over I thought that was Kendrick. Kendrick did the Use Your Heart joint. Freddie got a joint over there too?
I feel like Freddie did another SWV joint, I felt like. Hold on, he did the Cupid joint.
That was quite cute. And then the Toni anniversary on the joint.
But that was crazy. Oh my goodness.
But he snaps. On these records, guys.
Yeah, I remember when Shawn texted me with that Cupid joint was out when You Only Die Once came out, and then Shawn texted me like, yo, I see what y'all been talking about. It's Freddie. Man, listen, man.
Yeah. And while we're here, Shawn, we'd like to thank you for coming around. Because we have been we are so AG knows this. We are so tired of these commercialized guys, right? That are getting Freddie's due. That they don't rap like Freddie. They don't make songs like Freddie. They don't make albums like Freddie. And people just be acting like Freddie just some underground king. And it's like nah, fam. He's arguably the best album maker of this era.
I think people just don't like him. I think he suffered for the same thing that rappers like T.I., like if people really didn't, vibe with their personality, like which T.I. is beloved in a lot of ways, but I just think The Game is another one who has a stellar catalog that doesn't get the credit that they deserve. I just think a lot of things he does outside of the booth hinder his overall placement.
Yes.
But I don't know how to say this, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna run this off in order for you. Pinata,
Classic.
Bandana, Alfredo,
Classic.
So Separately. You Only Die Once.
Almost classic.
Yeah.
Fuck how you feel about him. Did you just hear the 5 albums that I just ran off that he has released in succession?
Yeah.
The only one you didn't get in there is Freddie, which I think is his weakest one, but it's
Freddie
still
is
good.
before Pinata, right?
I think it was after.
I thought
think
Freddie
Freddie's
was
after.
before. I got put on to Freddie after Pinata. I didn't know about Freddie till after Pinata. That's why I said.
I might be wrong, but that's still a solid album, but it's not as good as the rest of them.
So Freddie's the only album on there of those 6 albums. It's not like a 4.25, guys.
It's after. It's after.
It's after Pinata.
Yeah.
So Pinata, Freddie, Bandana, Alfredo.
And then you go back even further. You Only Live Twice. That's a fire joint. You know what I'm saying?
You Only Live Twice got some shit on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just. Yeah,
that's 7 albums that are at least probably 4s. Freddie might be a 3.5. The rest of those are at least 4s.
Of the modern era,
with a couple of 5s
at the top of the list, bro.
With a couple of 5s and he got a couple of 5s and a couple of 4.5s.
In the last decade, it ain't too many people rapping better than Freddie, man. That's just calling it what it is.
I can't argue it. I can't argue it. I would have argued a couple of months ago, but I can't argue it today. No.
How about this? He officially is at that level to me as an artist where if you're a hip hop fan, should be genuinely excited when he's dropping a project because his resume says that he's going to deliver.
He's going to
it's how about this? I have said this, to me in a lot of ways, he is the modern day Scarface to me.
He hasn't missed. He doesn't
miss album wise. The content and the subject matter probably hurt some of his trajectory in terms of notoriety. Consistently great, underrated beat picker, underrated storyteller, like all the things, like consistently makes great projects. In a lot of ways, he is the modern day Scarface to me, and also modern day Scarface from the sense that it's like, oh, I don't care when he coming out or how he coming out. When he coming out, right there, because he deserves that. He deserves people to be like front and center when he drops a project because he puts together a full project.
Yeah.
Like Soul separately in any other in probably any other year outside of the year that it came out probably would have been album of the year.
83 was too strong, but So Separately, the deluxe version was crazy. And people going to think this is like, sacrilegious to even say this, but the pocket that Freddie gets in on these R&B, I don't know if you call them like, I guess full R&B loops, you know what I'm saying? But they're not doing too much with the R&B tracks. You know what I'm saying? They're not messing with them too much. He's just flowing over them. And like you said, that collision course of his style, Coop, the pocket that he gets in on these R&B tracks is like Nas, and people going to say it's sacrilegious to say this, but Nas when he gets on a breakbeat. Like, it's like
that.
Yeah, the perfect.
No, it's like that. It's like Jay-Z over a Diana Ross or fucking Angela Winbush.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like certain people have pockets when you hear them over that shit. It's like, no, if you stay right there, you'll win. And
right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, well, here's the thing about it. You usually find these things out about your MCs early. It is so rare to hear somebody that we're acquainted with Freddie already, and so to hear this pocket from him at this stage in his career is almost like, damn.
Scary.
You really haven't been getting enough credit. What up, Jarv?
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary for real.
It's scary.
Like, if we get an album with 10 to 12 of those, my God.
Yeah. That's why I said I don't even need 10 to 12 of those. Get 20 of those loops. Keep the 5 best records. Disperse at your, do it how you want it. What we got? Steel Bangles. One Day It'll Make Sense. Short EP. Affiliated with Mass Appeal. Got the Nas feature
Mass
on
Appeal
there.
India.
Yeah.
Got the Nas feature.
What do we think about the project, guys? What were your thoughts about the project, AG?
I mean, it's some smooth music. Not overall, not really my cup of tea. This is more of a compilation record. Still, Bangles is a producer and a DJ from London, signed to Massville, India, and he has a lot of artists on this EP. But I've only listened to the project once, but you know, some smooth ride music. The one with Nas though, I've had on repeat. Like this is the first Nas verse we've gotten in 2025. You know, and it's typical Nas, you know what I'm saying, over this BPM, poignant verse, super dope. But to me, the highlight of the track is the guy singing the hook. I don't want to mispronounce his name. It's what's homie's name? It's called Sid Sriram. Is that how you pronounce it? Sorry if I'm butchering his name, but yo, he killed the hook on here, man. Like that's the Nas's verse is fire, but to me, the hook was the highlight of the record, man. It was dope.
When I heard the project, I immediately thought to myself, they didn't make this for old niggas like me. I'm sending this to my daughter. That's exactly what I did. As soon as I sent it to her, she said, "What is this?" I said, "It's some new shit." I said, "You love this shit, don't you?" She said, "It's banging." That's what I think. I think that the hip-hop world that we grew up in and the hip-hop world that my daughter exists in, oh no, this fits into her pocket more than our pocket, but I knew that when I heard it. I actually enjoyed the project overall. I found the production to be top tier. It gave me some DJ Khaled UK vibes to it in terms of how he mixed, matched, and pieced together. Thought the production was stellar. Slightly repetitive. The Nas versus stellar. Saying the Nas versus stellar is literally like asking questions that Ghostface asked on Fourth Chamber. Why is the sky blue? Why is water wet? Why did Judas grab the Romans while Jesus slept?
One of the best verses of all time.
Like people are like, man, it's a great verse from Nas. No shit. like what exactly did you think was going to happen as opposed to what could have happened? Like let's start weighing it on the scale. It's like, well, there's probably like a 75 to 85% chance that the verse is going to be great.
Well, no, I'm gonna push back on that, Coop, because you know a lot of times when rappers of Nas's caliber get on an artist like this that's not as well known in our sphere, they'll phone it in sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So, but this is mass appeal with mass appeal. Nas is, you know what I'm saying, ahead of mass appeal.
Couple things. Mass appeal.
Right. So he's not going to phone it in. So yes, it is a Nas stellar verse, which is like he don't put out no BS. Like he's been on fire for the last 5 years.
Well, the last time that he phoned anything in is when Kanye's punk ass had him rapping in the backseat of a car. That was 9 years ago.
Right.
That's the last time
he phoned right out after that, and we heard what it sounded like when he didn't phone it in.
Shit in from the backseat of a car because of Kanye. That's the last time something got phoned in.
Yeah,
it's been almost a decade since a verse got phoned in. Shout out to
Kanye. Shout out. Don't ever get caught phoning it in from the backseat of a car.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild that you would ask. It's wild that you would ask that man to do that. Just so
yeah,
it's crazy. It's even crazier that he actually did it for you. That means he actually likes your ass. I would have been like, so this is where I say fuck you.
Right. Get me out of here.
Right. Abort mission. This is me hitting the eject button.
Yeah, this motherfucker's crazy.
Yeah. Right. Go gadget the fuck out of here. Click.
Now 2019 Kanye looks same.
Yeah. Cool.
Wow.
Cool.
That's crazy. Recording vocals on the phone. Anyway, so in news, Drake made a long ass statement. Somebody read the long ass statement. It's a long ass statement. Oh my god.
I got it right here. I'll read it. It sounds like a Aubrey breakup letter. It says, "You know, I grew up non-confrontational and always treated this game as a sport where my pen won gold. But these days, the podium has been hard for all of us to ignore. I understand that this next chapter may leave you feeling uneasy, but I hope you see my honesty as clarity, not charity, that answers some questions, especially about the unanswered texts you've been sending
me." And you read it like you read it in that fashion, which is crazy.
No. What's crazy? No. Here's what's crazy. What you just read is crazy. What the fuck was that? What the fuck?
I don't know what Burrow's talking about, man. I don't know.
Look here. If first of all, if you would have given me my jacket, my leather jacket, this would be the point in the movie that I get home and I burn the coat.
Yeah,
that's right. Frank Lucas burned the coat.
Yeah,
those are my thoughts. It's like if I had an OVO coat, I would burn the coat right now. I would burn the coat. This is ridiculous.
It's a lot of red flags, though. It's a lot of red flags.
No. This is giving Jay-Z after Ether. All right, that's what it's giving. It's giving Jay-Z after Ether.
Maybe worse. I don't like him saying. I mean, granted,
it sound like the Frank Ocean coming out letter. Like, what the fuck is this? Or like what are you doing?
Yo, that's crazy.
That was crazy. No,
what is it?
What I will say, Drake, by like normal standards, might be non-confrontational because he's very collaborative, but he does like to provoke niggas. Let's be for real. And I don't like it where he said, I always treated this game as a sport where my pen won gold. Bro, your pen has been in question for the last, 7, 8 years?
I don't know. All I know is if you keep this shit up, I'm going to start listening to records and start off by saying...
You can't have ghostwriters and say your pen won gold on the podium. You can't do that, can you?
You can't say that.
You can't say that, right?
He's spiraling to the point where it's already been corny.
Yeah.
And now you're doing this, you're overdoing it at this point. You gotta sit down. You gotta leave it alone. Like just put out music. We don't want to see tweets no more.
I've been said that.
He said he's gonna make you feel uneasy.
Yes.
First of all, hold on real quick, Mad Max.
Max in the building.
I'm not. No. Let's not do that. I'm not Mad Max. I'm not slandering Frank Ocean. You remember that punk ass letter? You nobody want to read that long ass diatribe. Get your ass on YouTube and make a 30-second statement. Shut the fuck up.
Because I love that song, man.
What is this?
That song he had, and when he wrote that letter, I was like, yo, I can't listen to this song no more because he's talking about.
Yo, man. All right. So don't get us demonetized, bro.
I should have known. Like, yo, dude was like, yo, you with a new feel. I'm like, yo.
Just say pause and move on because you'll get us demonetized. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of wild, man. And who's been sending them texts that he been leaving on red? I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Nobody. Is he talking about a girl? Is he talking about a guy?
Both. He's talking about both.
So it is just like the Frank Ocean letter. The defense rest.
That's Dre. He got.
Is he talking about somebody in the industry that he was cool with at once? Joe, Kanye, like whatever. Like I doubt Kendrick is texting him like that. Who is he talking to?
Kendrick might be texting him.
I've heard Kendrick is a texter. I've heard he's a texter. I've heard he's a texter.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, definitely not
Kendrick sending the boogeyman selfies.
No, definitely not making any money off this episode whatsoever after this segment. I'm pretty certain. Just took all that off the board. All right. So, any final thoughts about this statement? Statement sucks. Yay or nay on the statement? Give a fuck.
I mean, I don't know if this is a rollout to his new album, but if so, bro, just stop talking and put out music.
Isn't he re-rolling out the P&D album? Just like, who knows what they're doing? This is just all very convoluted for me at this point. You want to know? I never thought I would say this. Like, I'm too old for this shit, Drake. Get off my lawn, okay? Yeah. Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn, and don't come back until you got some new shit.
But this is the same thing he did early on before the, the beat jumped, when the beat first jumped off a year ago. Like, he was making, IG posts like this.
Man, Anna Mae fought back harder than this. No.
Yo, she did actually.
No.
Moving on. Moving on.
No. Don't know what else to tell you. Don't know what else to tell you. All right. So it appears that, during the LA Lakers game last week, in between quarters, that LeBron James, the most famous basketball player on earth, one of the most famous people on earth, approached ESPN frontman Stephen A. Smith and had some less than stellar things to say to Stephen A. about Stephen A.'s commentary about his son, and issued some some communicable threats to Stephen A. about what he should and should not do involving his son. What are you guys' thoughts about this in terms of an athlete the stature of LeBron, who is essentially the figurehead in his sport, stepping to Stephen A., who is the figurehead in the media? That's wild. That is wild. In public, front row at a Lakers game for public consumption, knowing that, quite frankly, to quote the late great Tupac, that all eyes were going to be on them.
Yeah, you should see him looking around at the cameras after
the cameras. Yeah.
Who? Which one? Both of them? Probably both of them.
LeBron. You can see him looking at that, seeing if the cameras was catching it when he did it. But
definitely a planned chin check. It was definitely a planned chin check.
Yeah,
definitely was an ambush, a blitzkrieg.
I'm gonna say this, man. Or you want to go first, Shawn?
No, go ahead, please.
I see it from both sides. I'm father of 2 children, and it's easy to get defensive over your kids, but I don't like it. Like, for one, it was planned, as you could see. Once he saw him, it was on site. I'm gonna go up and talk to him. I hope everybody gets this to know that I'm standing up for my son, what have you. A lot of it, LeBron could be a diva. A lot of stuff he does can be for show, can be for the cameras. But even in the fact that you say you're defending your child, right? If you have a kid, just for us normal folk that have, that are not, mega stars or whatever, you have a kid that's in school or whatever, they're getting bullied. Are you going to go up to the school and go up to the bully at the lunch table in front of God and everybody else and say, don't be bullying my baby and all this other stuff? Hell no. If you're a good parent, you won't do that, because that puts a big ass target on your kid's back. Right. So I don't agree with LeBron, because LeBron has kind of proven Stephen A's point in all this, in my opinion, by doing that. He could have hit him on the side like, yo, I don't like what you said or whatever. But I think the point that a lot of people are missing in this whole coverage of this, Stephen A didn't say anything bad about Bronny. He was talking about the compromising positions that his father was putting him in. So he was saying, like, hey, if you want to do right by your son, stop doing what you're doing. He didn't say nothing bad about Bronny for LeBron to get pissed off, like, yo, that's my effing son, like, whatever. Like, of course, nobody wants to be told how to parent. I get that. But I just don't like the fact that LeBron keeps putting Bronny in these situations and then ends up having to get him out of these situations that he put him in. Like, LeBron is the one that said that Bronny was better than half of the NBA. He got him called up to the league, got him drafted, got him playing when he should be back in the G League, like Stephen A said. And now you got to defend this because you created this monster. And then people are coming back saying, like, yo, but why is he getting so much criticism as a 55 overall pick? Well, he's getting the praise too, because the one bucket that he did score, I saw that shit on SportsCenter all day long. The day he did score 2 points, who else scored a 2-point bucket, and they ran that on SportsCenter all day long? You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff, even the King, I love Ken Griffey Jr. Like, now I'm finding out that LeBron flew Ken Griffey and his dad to be at the game where they had that moment and it wasn't a natural thing. Like, a lot of this stuff is contrived, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's very contrived and it's nasty work. You know what I mean? So, and it's not to hate on LeBron, but as a parent, dog, like, he got to stop putting Bronny in these situations and just let Bronny live, because you got to let him be his own man. You can't come to his defense in every situation. And now you're making it look like he's above reproach, above criticism or whatever. Because LeBron himself, he's the most criticized athlete ever, and he doesn't deal with criticism.
Self-inflicted. Some of that is self-inflicted.
Yeah, he's projecting. Like this comment that Drake did, that, LeBron is known for doing that a lot.
Frequently. Let's get to a few super chats right quick, Shawn, and then you can jump in if that's cool. Cool.
Absolutely.
Kenny Castro, flute sold separately. Okay, told you the band.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
Oh, you like that? Yeah. Kenny. Definitely blocking your ass when the show is over, Kenny. Double Barrel. Nah, you don't plead with me as a father. F that. Okay. Mad Max. Preston Stephen A. Smith does what though? Tell Bron I said it's a Dookie bar, like Son from The Wire. And if he stepped to me about it, he gonna end up in a vacant. That look corny. And Stephen A. Smith don't talk tough after.
Right, and that's corny too. Stephen A. need to stop doing that too, because if you ain't say it when he was right there in front of you, then don't go on the pod and say it. Word up.
Big facts. Big facts.
Shawn, what are your thoughts about the dichotomy of like all the things that involve this? Because I feel like there are a myriad of things going on here.
Yes, I would try to be as brief as possible. As a father of a daughter, 13-year-old daughter who's getting into basketball now, I can certainly understand like the anxiety that comes with that. Critique, wanting your kid to do well. Me being a former basketball player, certainly nowhere close to Bron's status and no capacity at all. But just me having the anxiety of seeing her play on the court. And I'm like, damn, I wish I was there to kind of like jump in her body, pause, and just, get her to do things that I would do in those moments. So as a father, I can understand that connection because you don't want anyone to over critique your kid based on what you don't want your kid to be exposed to. But at the same time, you got your kid in the NBA. He's not above criticism. And this all was fashioned, in my opinion, was fashioned for LeBron because he wanted the additional accolades that came with playing with your son, having your son on, like you say, he flew out Ken Griffey Jr. and his father to come out there and watch them play so it can be some connective tissue there. And he's the only NBA player that played with his son and all of these things. And it got to a point where we know Bronny shouldn't be out there. We know that. It's not a secret. But the dichotomy to that, Coop, is the fact that you got Stephen A., who has been critical of that entire process, but not overcritical. He's been very measured, if you will, when it came to his critique on that situation itself. Not only that, the fact that Bron came in the middle of the game to try to check him while the audience crowding around and cameras are around. Are you doing that for Bronny or are you doing it for yourself? Because then you heard him say something to Richard Jefferson where he was talking about, he shouldn't have said that about me. So it never was really about Bronny. You made it about you to put Stephen A. on blast because this is going to get traction. Now the flip side to that is Stephen A. taking this and running with it. Now he's dressing in all black,
Death row look.
Death row look. He's going on all these platforms.
Not Death Row East. Queens get the money.
Look at him, man, looking goofy. But he's out here now, gallivanting, and now he has a lot to say about it. But he didn't have anything to say in the moment. But I can understand he was shocked in the moment, probably because he was like, "Oh, this guy just pulled up on me." And was like, "Yo, keep my
6'9" dude looking down on you like."
Hold on. And Stephen A. not a short dude. Stephen A. about 6'2".
Yeah. He's not a small guy. I mean, he's not a short guy.
LeBron is 6'9".
Yeah.
So
I would have scoop slammed him if that was me. If it would have came my face, I would have scoop slammed him and go deal with the consequences later.
I'm definitely gonna go Tanya Harden on him and hit him with a lead pipe in the knee and take him out.
He be in them stands.
Even though all the injuries and ailments that LeBron got, I'm going straight for one of those.
Yeah. But LeBron needs to retire, man. He needs to be.
I think there are a few things going on here. First of all, I'd like to say at the height of the beef, they started Death Row East, so I'm expecting some Death Row East T-shirts come out very, very soon. Expecting some Death Row East T-shirts soon. Who banging on the Lakers from Queens? But let's unpack a couple of things seriously. First of all, I'm a parent, and I'm the worst type of parent. Like, my daughter hides things from me because she know when it comes to her, it's just whoop a nigga ass on sight. I don't really care. If you're bullying my kid, no, I'm not gonna come up to the school and bully your kid. I'm gonna find a parent. I'm gonna whoop they ass, probably in front of people. I'm that parent. Like, I literally told my daughter one time when she was actually having a bullying issue, I said, no, she's like, are you gonna come to the school? I said, no. I said, I'm about to ride around the neighborhood and find out where their parents live. I said, I'm about to go fuck them up. So, and I meant that shit, and I went looking too. So I'm that kind of parent, and so I get it when you love your kid. You know what I'm saying? Here's something that LeBron needs to learn that I had to learn. What's for you may not be for your kid. And actually, Stephen A. Smith has actually been more than patient and kind to you, because here's the reality of the matter. Your kid was a high school freshman who had a heart condition and almost died on the court. Just him being here is a blessing. Now, when he comes back, he averages roughly 4 or 5 points a game. That is not enough to draw the ire of NBA scouts. Draymond Green was the 38th pick in the second round. He was the Big Ten Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying? And so your son has gotten a path that very few people have gotten, especially in the black community. And listen to this, Stephen A. actually been giving you a pass because very few black people have had the clout, the cachet to be able to walk their son into something as prestigious as the NBA, the way LeBron just did, and that's just what happened. But also, too, the job of a journalist is to provide fair and unbiased critique. And this is what I mean about Stephen A. being nice. AG, Shawn, let's keep it real. He's not even ready for the G League yet.
He's not.
It's not like he was at USC. He wasn't in the SEC that we're seeing this year. He's not with a traditional ACC team power. He was in USC. USC is known more for their history of women's basketball players a la Cheryl Miller than their men's team and Juju right now. So he wasn't at a prestigious men's institution. He wasn't even the best player on that team.
No.
Right.
Most of the people coming out of the Pac-12 right now that are the best players on their team aren't getting drafted.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of people could have had that spot.
And so he is extremely fortunate. He does not deserve to be in the NBA or in the G League. And here's where LeBron is really at fault. Listen to what I'm about to say. Nigga, you ain't nowhere near retiring. The nerve of you rushing this process knowing your old ass ain't going nowhere. You got a lot of nerve rushing this process and then screaming on this man in front of everybody when you're not going anywhere. Shawn, AG, have you been watching LeBron play basketball? He's not going anywhere. He's playing. This should be Bronny's sophomore year of college right now.
Yeah.
He should be averaging about 10 to 15 points and showing pro scouts if he's ready. And if not, waiting one more year. And guess who's still going to be playing in the NBA next year? Yeah. Yo, daddy, who's been sitting up here turning up on everybody about you when the reality of the matter is that we need to be turning up on him. You rushed this whole process instead of letting your son actually develop into an NBA product and talent.
Bingo.
Right.
You go.
This is your fault. No, we get on the AAU teams and the schools and all the money and all the NIL and all this, that, and the other. Here is a man that literally rushed his kid's process just so we can say, I played an NBA son with my game. You may have just ruined his whole shot at having a legitimate NBA career just so you can say that you played a game with him and your black ass is not retiring.
That's the bullseye, Coop. You said it right there. Just so he could say that I played with my son, because let's keep it 1,000. LeBron is doing all that, and you brought up the heart condition with him when that shouldn't have rushed him to the NBA because he might have needed, more recovery or what have you. But here's the thing, Coop, and you said it. LeBron did this so he could say that, because in the grand scheme of things, this does nothing for Bronny. If nothing, it adds to LeBron's legacy, because LeBron knows that when you look at my career, you can say, well, he had the longevity. So, he played at a high level for so long. He was able to still play on a team with his teenage son when he got in the league. Because years from now, we're not going to remember Bronny's stats or what he did or what he didn't do. All we're going to know is that he played with his father, but that speaks more to LeBron's greatness than if Bronny is ready or not.
But how about this? What if he would have actually gotten 2 more years of professional college ball and help and maybe worked himself into a late first round, early second round draft pick, and then when his father is probably about to retire in a couple of years, actually then play with him then? He ruined his son's career, and now he's screaming on somebody. Man, you ain't about to pull up on me and courtside and scream on me. I don't give a fuck if you a LA Laker, a LA Faker, 6'9", 5'9", 4'12". You about to get you. Let me introduce you to a couple things. It's called 38, 45 FN 57.
Listen,
Let me introduce
Coop, I'll
you to
answer
some
that
numbers.
question for you because you asking LeBron to be patient and wait for that to take place. He didn't want to risk that. This is the same person who left Cleveland to go to Miami to form a super team when you could have said, okay, stick around and wait for Cleveland to be patient to, like, you know, get better, which, you know what I'm saying?
Hey guys.
Whatever. Like he rushed the situation for what it could do for him to advance him further. Let's just call it what it is. I got one question before we move on. How does this look to the media?
Mike's kids were better.
Fact. Both of them.
Both of Mike's kids were better. I used to watch Mike's kids play.
But Marcus putting the Lambo on the train tracks right now, skied up. So and he couldn't even get. Now he was entitled too. They had the body cam footage. He said, "I'm Michael Jordan's son." They was like, "Who?"
I'm pretty certain he put a kilo of cocaine on the train tracks and sniffed it before he put the Lambo
said with a
on
straight
there.
face, "I'm in no way inebriated. I can drive. Your Lambo is on the tracks, my guy. Like, no, you cannot drive." But let me ask y'all this. If LeVar Ball does that in defense of like LaMelo or anything like that, what is the media saying about him versus LeBron gets a pass for how he rolled up on Stephen A? Because I know,
first of all,
people were killing LeVar. You know what I'm saying?
LeVar had kids that could play. LeVar actually called this shot right. When Lonzo was coming out, LeVar was literally telling people his youngest brother going to be better than him. And he was right. LeVar actually had pro-talented kids. No, like,
but people Lonzo still
Ball,
hated him. LeBron's
Lonzo Ball, like people forget Lonzo Ball before these injuries and stuff. Oh no, he was moving into all-star point guard level play.
Yes, very good.
LaMelo is an all-star. Like LeVar got sons that can play NBA basketball. Two of his sons, like those. Lonzo and LaMelo deserve to be in the NBA.
Right.
When
Jello deserves to be at Def Jam.
When both of them, yes, he deserves to be at Def Jam because Def Jam fucking sucks. That's why he deserves to be at Def Jam. You deserve what you put out. If you fucking suck and your label fucking sucks, you all deserve each other.
Whoa.
Sucks.
Whoa.
But yeah, man, I just don't.
I'm not sparing anybody in 2025. I don't have time for this shit.
Yeah, people only get outraged what they, you know what I'm saying? They pick and choose what they get outraged about. How LeVar Ball was moving, how Shawn, T. Morant, you know what I'm saying? So it's like how they move gets hated on a lot. And LeBron's getting a lot of passes in the media for how he handled this situation or whatever. And
because
I just don't.
This is more about LeBron's legacy than it is about Bronny's gameplay.
Yeah.
This is another notch in his legacy to say that he was the first NBA player to have his son play basketball with him.
And to me, that doesn't help your legacy then. Like, that don't make you the GOAT.
But, it's all about right now how you build that invisible resume. This is part of that invisible resume. Right.
Actually, he does a good job of not showing his ego. This is one of those times where it's like he couldn't hide his ego.
Couldn't hide it. He couldn't hide it because like
his want. Like, how about this?
It's desperation.
No, it's not. Here's a part of LeBron we never talk about in relationship. Like, people understand. Mike was media savvy. Mike's a country boy from Wilmington, North Carolina. Mike don't like the attention. LeBron likes the attention, guys. He likes the attention.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking too, AG. I'm just not even going to say it like that because it ain't like that. But it's like, oh, no, you are the dude.
Like the attention.
You do be the dude. You are the dude you are dancing in all the videos. You are dancing in all the videos.
Watch the video again. He's looking around to see if the camera's catching it.
That is you in the video saying, take that. That is you. You do love the attention. You do. And so that part of him that loves the attention, it showed itself. And it's funny, like, it's kind of like, like most great men, his love for his children is his Achilles heel, and it's showing his weakness in his love for his children. Like, his weaknesses are shown. He thinks that it's a strength, and he actually thinks that he did something by what he did to Stephen A. Smith. It's like, nah, fam, you didn't do nothing. You're just showing that you're an egomaniac, and your ego's a little bit more out of control than we realize because your team and you have done such a good job of suppressing that diva that you really are to the public, you know.
But if you're Bronny, you're sick. You really think Bronny went up to him after that and said, "Thanks, Dad"? No.
Yeah, he probably like, appreciate you, thank you, Dad.
No, I don't think so. If I put myself in Bronny's shoes, I think I'm embarrassed.
No, because remember he tweeted something about that situation.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nah, LeBron got into his account.
No, look here. If I'm Bronny, take advantage of the amenities. Find you some IG models, slide in the DM, say you can fuck with a ball player tonight. You can fuck with an NBA ball player tonight. You can fuck a James tonight. Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, you do. You do. Get these hoes.
And let's keep it real. Speaking of which, he probably mad he on the same team with his pops because pops probably blocking on the road. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely cock blocking
with his pops.
Definitely player hating. Definitely is player hating.
Nah, Bronny, come on the show. You in a safe space. Tell your truth.
Yeah, so we got
probably telling him
the truth. We got you.
He probably like, you need to work on your game. He probably like, you need to stop texting women other than my mama, nigga. Stay out my business.
Sorry, that's more cool. That's all cool, Bron.
Oh,
I don't give no fuck. Look here, I talked this shit to Kobe once. I don't give a fuck. He ain't safe. Ain't nobody's safe. Kobe wasn't safe. I talked shit to Kobe in Orange County, California, when Kobe was Kobe. Nobody is safe, nigga.
Yeah, no one is above criticism. No one is above criticism.
Nobody.
And I want to ask you guys this, because kind of transitioning over to just from the way we critique, fans and those in the media, like we critique artists. Are we over critiquing them? Or are we giving our real assessment from our viewpoint, from our lens? Is there a place where you can over critique someone in their body of work?
Yes.
I think yes.
Go ahead, Coop.
I think you need to be careful about what you call yourself if you do that. That's why even for the critique and the criticism that I've had for Kendrick, I try to circle back around with actual facts. That's why it's like, I'd be like, oh, see that album did suck because you like this album and this album's good. Because I want you to understand that wasn't me being personal. My actual critique was that it sucked and nobody wanted to admit that it sucked. But it can come off like it's personal, like I have a bias. And and I can understand that part of it. And really what happens is that our biases start to show. Here's where my bias starts to show when it comes to Kendrick. Oh no, I very much thought that he was on a trajectory to be a top 5 all-time great MC. And then he stopped. And then he dropped a whack-ass album. And I was very displeased with that because I had, as a journalist, written an article in 2016 saying this guy's damn near top 10 right now. And I have not liked the trajectory of it pretty much until this past year. And so my bias might be that journalistically, I wrote something 9 years ago. I did not feel like the artist was holding up their end of the bargain. And so if you want to call me biased based on something that I wrote holding him so high and me feeling like that I didn't, like, don't sit up there and tell me that I'm taking the shit personally. It's like I'm actually only taking the shit personally in relationship to some shit that I wrote. I'm taking what I wrote personally about him.
Like you was upset with yourself for being wrong in that moment.
Correct. I'm more upset with myself than I am with him. I want to be right, which means I wanted Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers to be better than all of y'all did because it would have submitted my article as a journalist. Because I would have been able to pull up and say, oh no, see, this motherfucker took 5 years off. But he's still that guy that I was talking about in this article 5 years ago, which is why I wrote the article thinking that he was capable of something like that. That's where my bias lies. My bias don't lie in the fact that I got something personal against him, but we all have our biases. I'll tell you something that I saw when Griselda was really like peaking out here. A lot of people were doing pods, And a lot of black men our age were taking issue with them calling out young boys as shooters. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh no, that's your trauma from your hood experience. This is entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
These niggas are not actively hiring niggas to go shoot. You want to know why? Because I'm seeing them on stage with niggas every night performing, making money on Instagram, like literally all the time. This is when they were grinding and doing shows like almost every night. And so I saw bias from people that were trying to make a name for themselves based on their trauma from what they had seen in our community and projecting that onto Griselda's music and spending. I would literally watched the guy one time spend more time highlighting the fact that they were talking about the young boys as shooters than actually reviewing the project and talking about the music. That's a bias. Saying somebody's shit sucks is not a bias. Saying that your kid can't play basketball is not a bias. It might just be what it is. Mr. Morale and Big Steppers is not a good album. Bronny is not an NBA-ready basketball player. These are not biases. These are critiques that journalists are supposed to give unbiasedly. If your kid can't play, your kid can't play. If the album fucking sucks, the album fucking sucks. Yeah. Stop making it personal for the journalists because you didn't hold up your end of the bargain.
Yeah. And that's the problem that's caused with all this, Coop, because like you said, now that he's approached Stephen A. Smith, like if somebody has those same sentiments, then they're going to question themselves if they should even, well, ESPN might have everybody bought anyway where they can only say certain things, but still yet they don't feel like they could tell, what they see as the truth, as factual, because there'll be repercussions behind that.
How about this? Instead of stepping to Stephen A. Smith, why don't you spend that time working on your son's first step? He's 6'2". People who are 6'2" in the NBA, they have to use their speed and their quickness. He doesn't seem to have an explosive first step. That's what great guards have. Like if you wanna like take the critique, it's like you shouldn't really be stepping to Stephen A. Smith. You should be working with your son on his game. Facts. You are the second greatest basketball player that ever lived, in my opinion. It's like you should be working.
But that ego, he thinks that's disrespect, saying he's the second best out of everybody who ever played.
Because they're working so hard to be ahead of Jordan that they're losing the sight of everything else around them. That's just how it's always been. Yeah. And that's why
he's trying to win. Here's what it is. Michael Jordan has won the electoral college vote, and he keeps trying to win the popular vote. And it's like, that's not enough to get you elected, nigga.
Right.
Ask Hillary and Kamala and whatever Democrat that keep getting their ass whooped.
Yeah.
Yeah. That popular vote shit ain't enough. You know what you need, nigga? You need rings. You're 4 and 6.
The rings and things you sing about, bring them out.
No.
You're 4 and 6. You're 4 and 6. He's 6-0. Nobody gives a shit about your son making it to the league when you're 4 and 6 versus you're 6-0. You're trying to add stuff into the argument when man, you need to make the main thing the main thing. You averaged less than a point in the fourth quarter against Dallas for 4 straight games. That's what the thing is. Your son making it to the league was never the thing for us. And somebody just need to tell his ass. Like, nigga, that ain't it.
Yep.
Yeah. Not to answer your question too, Shawn, about do we critique artists too hard? I think, like Coop said, I would say yes too, because for me, at the end of the day, I'm just a fan of this, man. I think once we come in here every week and we talk about music, but I think that it's like, it becomes too much when you go from a fan critiquing music to a critic, a self-proclaimed critic critiquing music. You know what I'm saying? You're not a fan of it anymore. You're just listening to stuff to kind of like, pick out certain things or whatever, give a critique. You're not a fan anymore. So nothing will ever grab you or make you gravitate to it because you're not going into it with that earnest approach that you did when you was a fan of the certain art. You know what I mean? And at some point or another, all three of us have rapped, all three of us have performed or whatever. I think to properly critique something, you have to at least have done it on some level and tried your hand at it to be able to critique somebody else at it. You don't have to be as good as that person per se, but I think you at least have to know what you're critiquing. You know what I mean? That's why I have a problem with, analytics guys that never played hoop or something like that want to talk about, how somebody's playing in the game of basketball. Stephen A. Played on some level. You know what I'm saying? So he knows the game of basketball.
He does.
And he has a right to critique it. Is he LeBron James? Hell no. But he is very familiar and very knowledgeable about the game. So I think that he has a right to do so. But I think when that line gets blurred between when you're a fan of whatever art form to you're a self-proclaimed critic, and that's what you hang your hat on, I think that's where it gets dangerous. You know what I mean? Because you'll never really give something that earnest approach you would as a fan of whatever art it is that you're giving your opinion on.
No doubt, no doubt. Yo, we got a bunch of super chats. Yo, we appreciate the super chat. We appreciate the love in the chat. It's great that we don't have bots in the chat because we can communicate with you all and get real information in real time. So shout out to the real people in the chat and not the bots. Where we at?
Where the super chats at? Pull them up.
Let me see. Here we go. Mad Max.
Oh my
Max
God.
is a bot.
Stephen A. Smith does what? Tell him I said no. We read that one, Shawn.
Did that one? How about this? Here we go.
More Mad Max. Where was that? Hold on. Mad Max. Stephen A. Smith was on Guillerina like Martin when he lost his. I'm not reading that next shit. Mad Max is wild. Mad Max is your.
Shawn had the graphic of that, Max.
Yo,
Yeah.
Mad Max. Crazy.
Yeah, we know. He said Queen soft as Charmin. We might have to bring KRS back out. Okay. Let's not take shots at Queens. All right.
Yeah.
We not starting no turf war up here on Hip Hop Talks. All right. JI Designs. What's up, y'all? Thoughts on Dochi's latest songs and comments. Actually, Andrew and I actually did a full episode on Mirror Music that was released on Tuesday where we actually gave a review of Alligator Bites Never Heal, which won Best Rap Album for Grammy, and reviewed the two songs that she's featuring right now, Anxiety, and the other one is skipping me right now. But check it out on Mirror Music, full content and breakdown. That's what we got all the things for. So shout out to Mirror Music, Andrew. Like, share, subscribe, JI Designs.
No doubt.
All right. Andre Shashir, what up, Dre? Dre is one of the OGs. Dre has literally been following me on podcasts for the entire 5 years that I've been on podcasts. Andre Shashir was following me when I was still doing Facebook and IG lives before I was even on YouTube. This week makes my 5th year doing podcasts. Shout out to Andre. Used to be a huge Bron fan, but he's a diva now. Always been a diva. It's just harder to hide it when see that.
Yeah.
This is why Big said, keep your family and business completely separated. Money and blood don't mix like two dicks, and find yourself in serious because it brings out the emotional side of you, your vulnerabilities and weaknesses showing.
It's like an exposed nerve.
He bought his son into his business world. It's an exposed nerve. It's like that scene in The Godfather where he's talking to the guy and Sonny is talking and he cuts him off. He's like, oh, my kids, they got this shit. They talk when they should listen. You know what I'm saying? I've spoiled these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? That moment of vulnerability is what got his ass shot. You feel me? Yeah, that's how it is when you bring your kids into the fray. These things LeBron is going through are self-inflicted wounds. He don't need to be screaming at nobody.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's just larger than life, so don't nobody want to check his ass.
Facts.
Yeah, that's all it is. He larger than life, so nobody wants to check him. Everybody's the foundation of what he's built. Well, everything's built off of him. Who around? He's made everybody multimillionaires around him. Who gonna tell this nigga no? Coop. Right. Double barrel. AG likes KRS-One more than he liked Bron. That's not saying.
No. That's not true. I rank Bron either second or third all time behind Mike and Kobe. You know what I'm saying? I might put Bron third on one day, second on another day, but KRS-One doesn't crack my top 10. So that would be false dub. I do not like KRS-One more than I like Bron.
Okay, LeBron's been to 10 finals in 22 years, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, Magic went to 8 in his first 10. So even when people be putting him ahead of Magic, I'd be kind of looking.
Bingo.
Like, okay,
They went to
like,
9 in 13 years. 9
Yes.
finals in a 13-year season. And his losses are only to Isaiah, Jordan, Dr. J, and Bird. That is nothing to sneeze at. He is 5-4 in the finals. And those are his 4 losses.
Yeah.
Magic is that guy. And
Yeah,
y'all
so
stop putting Steph over Magic for all-time point guards, too. That's
not a
nasty.
conversation. Not a
We gotta
conversation.
chill. We gotta
Magic
chill
is
with
number
that.
2. Magic is the second greatest player that ever lived in my opinion, personally. Like, personally.
I ain't mad at that.
Mad Max. LeBron
Magic's my
liked
number 5.
Yeah, LeBron liked the attention on some female-ish, though. Grown man acting like a diva, like his name's Sasha Fierce. See, this is why we got to watch Mad Max. Mad Max be crazy. It's going too far. Beyond PJ Wilson, don't spend this all in one place. Okay.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
I'm going to catch the MARTA to the art center and then try to figure out how I'm going to get back home. That's where the $10 is going to get me. Like, you know, make it to the art center, be able to buy a fan out the machine for $2. After that, I got to figure out how the fuck I'm getting home.
Man, that was real when your mom used to tell you that. You'd come back like, you know what I'm saying, for real broke. And you did spend it all in one place. You'd have hell to pay.
Yeah.
I can remember getting on the MARTA with my mom when the MARTA was only a quarter, though. So, you know. Yep. All right. So our headliner is albums after beef, Shawn. We're gonna let you kind of take the lead on this, seeing how Drake's been talking like a battered and abused ex-wife, and Kendrick has been out here tap dancing on his ass, and they both are releasing posthumous diss beef time projects, the re-release of GNX, the re-release of the Drake and Party Next Door. Shawn, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm so sick of this shit. These niggas are doing too much. They're on my goddamn nerves. Have fun taking over this segment. I'm about to drink this Petite Verdot and enjoy this cigar while you talk.
Real quick, we forgot to mention in the new music section that Playboi Carti got an album, I Am Music, that dropped tonight. That got a Kendrick feature on there. Okay. So I'll be interested to see what Kendrick says on that feature.
AG, I did not mean to forget that. But subconsciously, probably because I am sick of this shit and I'm officially tired of it and over it, I conveniently skipped over that. Thank you for highlighting Playboi Carti and yet another Kendrick verse that's probably going to be sending more subliminals about Drake to start up some more conversation for some more bullshit that I don't want to talk about, so niggas can send some more emotional ass, ambidextrous, ambiguous messages that I don't want to read, so niggas can keep rapping over repetitive ass beats that I don't want to hear anymore. Just well, all of it. Shawn, I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead, let's go. Have fun.
So fellas, I wanted to get y'all thoughts on this because we've been talking about, you know, the Kendrick and Drake beef stuff was going on for a while. We're actually about to come on the year mark when the actual song was released that sparked everything. And we've had conversations behind the scenes, different conversations. Cool. One of our first conversations was about how, you know, these artists have to be careful about what they release after the beef. Because if you release the wrong project, if you release the wrong song, it could derail your career or it can stifle your career. So I wanted to talk about that real quick on just not so much as the Kendrick and Drake thing, but just other battles that we've seen in the past, where we had other rappers who actually released music or released an album on the brink or even the aftermath of the beef. And one of the things that came to mind when I was thinking about this was you guys always talk about Ice Cube and Death Certificate. And this came off the heels of him leaving NWA and having that beef with NWA. Although Death Certificate wasn't the first album that he released after the departure from NWA, it was more so his response to NWA when they started talking crazy about him. And in the aftermath of that beef, he dropped Death Certificate. And we know what Death Certificate was. Classic, right? And if he would have misstepped, NWA probably would have had more traction or got a little bit more room to actually really shit on him. But because Death Certificate was such a great album and you got No Vaseline on that same album, it all connected because he made the right step. So I wanted to use that as a gauge for other albums that came for those who had a misstep and those who actually had success. So with that being said, I wanted to bring forth the first one. Let's talk about one of the biggest beefs that actually came out with Ja Rule and 50. And Ja dropping Blood in My Eye. So AG, tell me about what you think about Ja's move with Blood in My Eye.
That's an underrated album. I'll be honest. That album was really good. But it's one of those things like if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound. You know,
Woo, bars.
I've never, up until that point, I've never seen somebody with so many fans and so, big of a following just pack up and leave them high and dry. Like, what 50 did to Ja Rule, it has been studied. I ain't gonna say it needs to be studied. It has been studied. But all of Ja Rule's fans became 50 Cent fans overnight. That's the tidal wave that 50 Cent was. And Ja's approach to get back to the grit, the same grit that we heard on Vidi Vidi Vici, like, was the right move. It was the right response, but it just kind of, it was like for nothing almost. You know what I mean? Because the people wasn't receiving. It's like Jay said, we don't believe you need more people kind of thing. Like he didn't have enough people in his corner still at that point to back that album or his response record clap back to like really for it to gain any traction. But the album itself, I enjoy the album. I think the album is really good.
What you said, Coop?
That album just okay, but AG makes some very, very good points. Here's what happened. Veni Vidi Vici actually has some Ready to Die to it. The artist is still rough around the edges, but you can hear a hit maker in there, but you can hear somebody that's tied to the streets as well. Here's the thing. Because Jay had the commercial success so heavy in front of him, and because DMX had the street success so heavy in front of him, it really sent him over into left field with that R&B shit. And 50 is somebody, 50 is smart, and 50 is a thinker. And he realized it's like, oh no, he's like, this guy done went too far left. He ain't made enough shit for the streets. I can beat him by taking it back to the streets. So Blood in My Eyes, a dope album. Clap Back is a great, 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 great record that nobody talks about. But they don't talk about it because when he had already lost all his credibility because he tried to go too far left. And he got known more for a nigga that was singing hooks than for his rap skills. And his rap skills was above average. He was a dope-ass MC.
Yeah.
And people forgot that. But most of all, he forgot that. Yep. And it was too little too late. And so in a lot of ways, Blood in My Eyes actually sounds better than Veni Vidi Vici in a lot of ways. But it's all lost on the ears because really Blood in My Eyes is something that he should have released after Veni Vidi Vici, not after a battle to maintain that credibility. Yeah. So somebody like a 50 would have never came for him to begin with.
Bingo. Yeah.
So that and was nobody was saying it was a return to form or anything. Like nobody cared.
Nobody cared because by the time he got to Return to Form, it was on this album right here. This was in the second album when he did the Rule album. But by that time, it was like, man, we done checked out now. It's too late. So now you can't recover. So now he's in a bad spot.
And not to be funny, and he had a reason to be feeling himself. He was feeling himself a little bit too much. I remember them Ja Rule articles when he was going double, triple platinum. Oh no, he was talking about himself in the same vein as Jay and Tupac and Nas and DMX. No, he was talking about himself that way.
Yeah. You want Tupac? You got Tupac.
I seen that shit. So 50 seen it. 50 seen it up close. I seen it from a distance. Like, oh, that is not gonna play well in the streets. And 50 already knew it, and 50 took advantage of the fact. He just knew what other street niggas knew. It's like, oh no, that shit ain't gonna play well in the streets, nigga. You up here singing songs with J-Lo talking about it must be that. That is not about to play in the streets.
But the greatest trick that 50 ever pulled is he did the same exact thing and got all Ja Rule's fans that was jiving with the singing.
And I used to say that, but here's one thing that we miss. He took Ja's style, but 50 made sure he kept the street ethos to it. And I'll give you an example of it. 21 Questions is from a jail cell.
Mm-hmm.
He kept the visual street because he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. He did it and he did it better. It just is what it is.
He made it fly. Yeah. He made it fly.
He made it flyer. Like the video to Stunt 101. That's the same video from fucking what's that fucking Cadillac tie song, the fucking two-way shit.
Oh yeah.
Stunt 101 is just that video on steroids. He just took it. He's like, no, I'm gonna do what you do. I just do it better.
Yeah. So it was a misstep. It was a misstep by Ja. But Coop, I want to swing this one back to you though. The Chronic. The Chronic came off the heels of Dre's departure from Eazy-E, if you will. And he had to land somewhere. And he landed with the Chronic. Was that one of the biggest ways to actually resurge yourself after breaking up from a legendary group and having some beef and some malice with one of the most iconic figures, rest in peace, Eazy-E in the West Coast?
Okay, so The Chronic is an easy top 10 rap album. If you told me it was the greatest rap album of all time, I wouldn't argue with you. It's in that conversation. It's one of the best rap albums of all time. It's one of the most important rap albums of all time. Production-wise, like you name it, it has everything that the greatest rap album of all time should have. But this is why history is so important. People forget the moment in time. Dr. Dre's not the greatest rap producer of all time when The Chronic comes out. That would be Marley Marl. Okay?
It's 93.
No, this is 92.
92. Late 92.
Late 92. Yeah.
Now, people need to understand this, and I'm pretty certain that it happened this way. I think Deep Cover comes out before No Vaseline.
I don't know about that. I think No Vaseline was out first.
No Vaseline came out first. Yeah.
It's close. It's close. I would check the stats and see.
Yeah, somebody in the chat check when the Deep Cover soundtrack came out, but I'm pretty sure that was after Death Certificate.
I feel like it's Deep Cover and then No Vaseline because Death Certificate's late night. Hold on, Death Certificate's 93, right?
No, Death Certificate's 91.
No, America's 99. Ooh, okay. So how about this? When No Vaseline is probably making the rounds, Deep Cover's coming out. But Dre don't have it like that in 92, guys.
No, he don't.
Like, No Vaseline ended NWA.
Yeah.
Nobody. How about this?
Yeah.
The Chronic is one of the most unexpected classic rap albums of all time. Nobody outside of California knew that The Chronic was coming out, nor did anybody care because Ice Cube had ruined them niggas.
Yes.
They were ruined.
Yeah.
And people forget this. The first single off The Chronic is Dre Day.
There you go. That's it.
And it was
it's not Let Me Ride. It's not nothing but a thing. It's Dre Day because he had to reestablish his credibility in the streets before he could go do all this other gangster shit that they talk about on The Chronic.
Let's talk about this point. It was a video too.
There is no talking this gangster shit without settling what Ice Cube did to you on No Vaseline. And he didn't go to and he did the smart thing. He didn't go for Ice Cube because that would have been career suicide for Dre.
Oh hell no, he ain't doing that.
But he addressed Easy. But he addressed the point that Ice Cube addressed on No Vaseline. Easy fucked you niggas out of your money.
Right.
Easy fucked us out of our money.
Here's the thing, Coop. It's a video, and I don't know that before that if it ever was a video for a diss track. And he had the homie, rest in peace, that played Ezel making a caricature of Eazy-E. And I remember as being a young kid laughing like, yo, I love Eazy, but this is funny. Like, you know what I mean?
He clowned Eazy. But here's what I'm saying, though. He had to clown Eazy because Cuba just got done clowning all of them. There is the Chronic don't work if he don't set the record straight.
Yep.
Facts. So he has to. So actually, people don't understand this. Dre Day is actually No Vaseline Part 2.
Yeah. And let's not forget the strays that Luke caught too.
And Tim Dog.
Luke's bending over, Luke's getting stuck. You think I'm a buster? I'm a buster.
Thought I was sleazy. Thought I was a mark because I used to hang with Easy. Animosity made you speak, but you spoke. Hey, yo, Dre, what up? Check this nigga off, Loke. If it ain't another hoe, then I got to fuck with. Gap teeth in your mouth. Oh, that shit was wild.
That shit was
if you listen, at that time you couldn't have a gap tooth in school because we was like saying that to people in school.
That predated pause.
No, I'm telling you, like some of the coldest shit that I ever heard as a kid when Snoop was talking about, and we gonna creep the South Central on a street knowledge mission. I was like, when I heard that, I said, that's gang shit. I was like, I'm not from Cali. That's gang shit. They about to bang on these niggas. I said, I'm excited. I'm excited. That shit is crazy.
It's different. It's different. Coop ain't just about it. It was played on MTV all day long.
That took this track to another level because it was a single and it was a video. Yeah.
And it was catchy. Bow wow wow. Yippee yo, yippee yay. Doggy dogs in the motherfucking house. Bow wow wow. Yippee yo.
I mean, the level that Not Like Us is now for what that was Not Like Us in 92, if that makes sense.
See, this is what I'm saying though. Like Dre Day was playing. This is what I mean about it's different, and you can't get these moments back when the streets talk. Oh no, I know Dre Day was playing every day in Compton because it was playing every day on Memorial Drive on the east side of Atlanta. We ain't even from Cali. We don't even get down the way Cali niggas get down. That's how hard that shit was.
It was everywhere. It was all on the East Coast. It was everywhere.
But Easy's response was tough. But if the album isn't comparable, you know what I'm saying, real Compton, if it's not comparable to The Chronic,
bingo.
I actually think Real Motherfucking Jesus is better than Dre Day. If we're just talking about record in a vacuum, the beat's better. That's one of the best beats ever. The beat is better. And it's crazy to say that the beat's better. But
the full project wasn't better. I think that's what Shawn's alluding to.
The only thing you're beating the Chronic with is like, Doggy Style, Paid in Full, It Takes a Nation, Illmatic, Purple Tape. Like, you ain't beating the Chronic.
That goes back to this topic because now you're talking about the Chronic and then he immediately released Doggy Style in the middle of all of that. So not only did Dre land it the right way once, he did it twice in the midst of the battle.
But Shawn, you do bring up a very valid point about the Chronic. The legend of the Chronic is built on the back of a diss record.
Right.
That's where the momentum started. Like that's where the momentum started.
But strategically, it makes sense because the last time we hear from Dre is with the group NWA. So what better way to reintroduce yourself to the world than to, you know what I'm saying? I got a problem with dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm not NWA no more.
See, okay, AG, what I'm trying to say is that, and this is where things are different. Oh no, there was no other way. The Chronic wasn't getting play if he didn't address that situation. You were from Compton. You were from the group called Niggas with Attitudes. There will be no Ice Cube dropping no Vaseline, and any of you niggas not addressing it.
Right. You got to set the tone. You got, and then you add
about it. The niggas who didn't address it, careers was over. The niggas who didn't address it, careers ended. Easy and Dre, the only ones that addressed it, their careers continued on. Red and Yellow never addressed it. Gone.
I think that was that era. I'm glad we're speaking about that because if you got demolished in the diss track in that era, it was no coming back for it. Your career was done. You was a pariah in the hip hop community.
But see, that goes back to our topic because it's saying, what does that misstep look like for you? Because not only did Dre drop Dre Day, he dropped the video. The video actually was a lengthy video because remember the original, the premiere of the video, it was a lot of different stuff tied into it. It was a commentary. It was him pulling up to the office with the all of those things.
The sleazy with the Jerry Heller and all that.
Yes, which was great. But also too, he also let you know what the album is going to sound like too. When I think about that video, you know what I think about? I think about the beginning of the video where Dre opens up that denim jean jacket and he's wearing a Parliament Funkadelic shirt.
He said, hell yeah. Yeah.
He's letting you know what the album's going to sound like too because he's wearing the Parliament shirt.
Very good point.
Most of the samples on there come from Bootsy Collins and George Clinton.
It was all Parliament. Correct.
So he set the stage not only with the diss record down to the T-shirt that he wore to introducing Snoop. Like it was perfect. It was a moment.
Very strategic. Very strategic.
This is what I mean. How can you? So how can you be so quick to be like Not Like Us is a top 5 diss record? It's like, nigga, I don't even know if Dre Day is a top 5 diss record. We just spent 15 minutes waxing poetic about the video, the song, the importance of it in relationship to the Chronic. And this is what I keep on trying to say. Not Like Us doesn't have a Chronic behind it. It doesn't have a death certificate.
Is not the Chronic by no means. No.
That's what I'm saying. It's not the same. And for those of us that have lived through some of these things, it's like, no, fam. It's like you had to have been there. We have been through this shit before. Yeah, we've been here before. We've been here before. Look here. Like the Chronic is what made me realize hip hop was real, because I was very clear that I was listening to something every day in my neighborhood that sounded and acted like nothing like my neighborhood. Like that shit do not sound like Decatur. You know what I'm saying?
No, cool.
But everybody in Decatur was playing it.
It was transcendent. It went transcendent. It was transcendent.
Yeah. My mom still says to this day, my mom still says to this day, I don't like rap, but I like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Yes, you do. My mom still like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg to this day.
But she probably was a Parliament fan, right?
Bingo.
Her big sis, my Aunt Sonia, God rest her soul, Six's mom was the Parliament Boosie Collins fan. Her big sister was the Parliament Boosie Collins fan. She grew up listening to it. Absolutely. Yes.
Think about our culture came from the Funkadelic era. That was the groove era for us. That's when we were dope. We felt like we were the dopest human beings on the planet in the Funkadelic era. You're talking about old school Soul Train era.
A Bootsy Collins album make you feel like that you can have any woman that you want.
Mom used to listen to Bootsy Collins all the time, bro.
Look, man, you think that you can do a key of cocaine, play the guitar, and get any woman you want after you listen to a Bootsy Collins album. Make you believe shit that you didn't even do. It's like, I didn't even know it was possible, Bootsy. I'd like to thank you for taking me to the mothership.
Yes. Cool. AG, my nickname when I was a little boy was Bootsy. They called me Boots. They used to have me dance. Boots come here and do a little dance.
From your behavior behind the scenes.
A weird dance. Boots to come in here and do a little dance for the people. I come in there doing some little weird shit. But that my nickname is Boots. You know what I mean?
I can actually see that. I can see that. No, that makes sense to me. What's the next shit? What we got? What's next?
So the next one I want to talk to y'all about, because I want to skip over a couple of, because I really want to get to another one that I think the chat would love. And I want to start with you, AG, because this one is like near and dear to all of us. And this is really the Nas and Jay beef, and the aftermath, after Ether, after Stillmatic, after Blueprint. Jay went with Blueprint 2, Nas went with Godson and Lost Tapes. And Blueprint 2 was the first time that Jay actually got critical feedback on an album during his run. You're talking about from 96 up until 2002, where Jay never received a lot of bad feedback. Although Volume 3 wasn't the best, he still got like 4.5 to 4. I think 4 to 4.5 mics.
That Volume 3 got 4 mics, I believe.
Yeah, 4.
So he still didn't get. No one really said the album was bad in the media, but Blueprint 2 was the first time that people were saying, "Yeah, you slipping." So he misstepped with Blueprint 2, but Nas came through with Godson, one of Coop's favorite songs, which you guys know what that is. We know what it is. One of the best songs that ever been made, that ever came out. They shooting, made you look. And now you got Lost Tapes when he's true to form. So if Nas would have missed, and I want to set this, I'm going to ask you guys both this question. If Nas would have misstepped, think about Jay being Thanos with the gauntlet, right? And Nas was the final stone for him to get. If he would have got the final stone where he beat Nas in the battle, Jay is the undisputed GOAT of all time. You can't dispute it. You can't argue it. You can't say anything about it.
That's a fact. That's a big fact.
Because now he has all these stones in his gauntlet.
Taking out Prodigy and Nas at the same time. Can you imagine?
He's unstoppable. He's unstoppable. But he didn't get it. And he misstepped and lost the stone with Blueprint 2 because he misstepped off of that. So, fellas, what do y'all think about Blueprint 2, Godson, and Stillmatic in that relation?
Go ahead, Coop.
So this is why. Okay, so everything that you're talking about keeping him from the Infinity Stone. That's why I tell everybody that I'm so high on KD. The difference between LeBron being Mike level is actually KD. KD going to Golden State is preventing LeBron from getting the Infinity Stone like you're talking about. That's the consolidation of LeBron's power being prevented. If KD doesn't go to Golden State, LeBron is 6-4, not 4-6. Then he gets to say, yeah, that guy went to 6, but I went to 10, and we got the same number of rings, and I played longer, and I got the scoring record. Yeah. Like these moments in history matter.
Yeah.
And that is why Nas's victory over Jay is the greatest victory ever in rap history. It prevented the consolidation of power. Because, and I've always said this to people, oh no, Nas is the greatest MC of all time. But if we talking peak, it's Rakim's peak and Jay's peaks. Those are the highest mountains to climb in terms of a peak. A 5-year window. Oh, and Jay was at the peak of his window when he got taken down. It was an afterthought that this was happening. When he dropped the takeover, people thought it was over for real.
Yeah.
That's how serious. Like, you had to have been there. Like, people talk about Jay now. They talk about Jay the legend, like the icon, and like, that's cool. We were there in real time for the ascension. Y'all know what it was like for Jay in 2000 and 2001. He was the fucking man. It did not matter. It did not matter if you thought Nas was the better MC. It did not matter if he was the better MC. It did not fucking matter. This is the most important moment in the trajectory of history, because without this moment of history, Jay is unquestionably the GOAT. It's not a question that he's the GOAT if he wins this battle.
Correct.
It's the consolidation of power.
Yeah,
and unlike most people, I think people are a little too hard on Volume 3. Volume 3 is uneven, but there's some good stuff on there. Blueprint 2 is not good.
It is. There's some good stuff on Volume 3. I tell Shawn this all the time. I know we're talking about after the beat, but, you know, I'm glad you brought up the power vacuum, Coop. Like, Blueprint 2, the first Blueprint for me in my all-time list jumped Jay from number 4 to number 2. Like, because prior to Blueprint, I had him behind Nas, Pac, and Big. Then that jumped him all the way up to number 2 for me. But,
I personally still have him somewhere between 4 and 7, but objectively, I've placed him at 2 pretty much since the Black Album.
Oh, gotcha. But how you deliver after a trying moment like that speaks volumes, because the diss track, if you win a battle, it's almost like that's half the story, but you got to seal the deal. You know what I mean? Yes. And I've said it on this show a lot of times, like when people were saying that this was Kendrick and Drake was the greatest rap battle of all time. I'm like, how can it be when Nas and Jay had Stillmatic and Blueprint as classic albums with their diss tracks? And then we saw what they were able to do after the fact. So let's see how this plays out even further, what Drake and Kendrick are able to do after the fact. And Nas delivered. Godson is a hell of a victory lap. And, you know, to keep his momentum going before he got to Godson a year later. Matter of fact, Nas wasn't one to put out albums back to back like that. Let's keep it real. The only reason why Nostradamus came out so quick is because those leftover tracks from the I Am Double album, and he had to get them out. But Nas knew he had to deliver to the people quick because he had the hot hand with Stillmatic. He threw out lost tapes out there, said, yo, these tracks are already classic. I'm going to put them out there to the people. And then spin the block again with my victory lap with Godson, another arguable classic album, right?
That's his best 3-album run.
Right. And then Jay, you know, Jay underdelivered with the Blueprint 2 because he was trying too hard. We just got through talking about LeBron trying too hard to be the GOAT, right? That exposed Jay in a sense where he was like trying to over rap. The guy that would like swag his way through stuff and stuff, he was trying too hard. Meet the Parents is him trying too hard.
So AG, I'm glad that you're bringing that up. So what happened is that, and this is how you know Nas won the battle. Well, if you go listen to the music, the roles got reversed. If you go listen
Yeah.
to the Lost Tape and to
Yes.
God's Son,
Yes.
in terms of Nas's mic performance, it's as easy and as comfortable as he sounds on the mic of all his early mic performances.
Bingo.
Whereas Jay on the other side actually sounds his most pressed. Like Jay's thing was always that he was
Too
talking
cool
to
for
Hustler,
school.
he made
Yep.
this shit sound cool. It didn't sound as cool anymore. He sound pressed. Meanwhile, the other guy is dropping a single. And think about this. This is what I'm saying. Made You Look is probably his best single. He never sounded so comfortable and at ease on the mic. Now let's get it all in perspective for all y'all enjoyment. A song y'all could step with. When the fuck did he ever start off a song like that? He's usually so intent and intense in starting off a song by making his mark. He never starts off a rap song easy. Let's get it all in perspective.
Nas was in the slick talk bag. Even joints like Quick to Back Down with Lil Jon. People don't talk about that record for whatever, but listen how he starts out. First off, I'm Nas, I'm a Braveheart veteran, and y'all already know who I'm better than. Like, he was just every chance he was kicking Jay's back end.
I tell people this, man. You're a slave to a page in my rhyme book is the slickest one-liner in the history of rap.
Yeah, and the fact that Made You Look is a diss song that nobody acknowledges is really a diss song is crazy. Because it is a diss song.
He's saying. I've always told people it's like you're a slave to a page in my rhyme book. He's going all the way back to the Dead President sample. Has been like your best song got my DNA on it. Like that's what he's saying when he's saying that you're a slave to a page in my rhyme book. As in your best shit, like your manifesto song, it's built on some shit that I wrote first.
Right. The delivery, and Godson is a classic album, and he dropped one of his best songs ever. Made You Look is a top 5 Nas song. I don't care, argue with the wall. Like, so that's how you follow up winning a battle. You have to seal the deal, right? And one thing about it, I mean, I know, Shawn, you prepped a lot of people, a lot of different battles for this topic, but one thing you'll notice, the people who win the battle always usually seal the deal based off that momentum. And the person who loses the battle, it's a little bit hard for them to find their footing after that loss because they're putting out these duds or misstep albums. Like none of these examples I can go through where the person who lost the battle followed that up with a classic. You don't have that.
And Coop, can you think of anybody? Because if I'm thinking about the South as well. Can you think of anybody who may have lost the battle and came back, and really got it back on track? I can only think of Jay with Black Album, and it was after.
That was removed. That was removed. That was about 12 months removed from the moment. He had taken.
He had to stumble around a little bit.
I will say this. Big took a lot of shots in between Ready to Die and Life After Death and still made Life After Death. And so Life After Death would be the album that I would go to because a lot of people felt, first of all, ain't no feeling. And I don't, and unless you're from New York, Pac was the man in 95, 96, and 97 if you're not from New York. And for Big to take all the Pac shots and take the hit 'em up and I fucked your bitch and like all that stuff and still make Life After Death is the only thing that I could think of. But even then, it felt like that battle was rooted in something that was so much more deeper than a rap battle. You really got the impression that things that went wrong. You really got the impression that she might have did some shit that she shouldn't have did to get back at. Like it just got it's too personal. Like you seen the nigga Suge posting pictures of Misa and Justin and shit like that. It's like, nah, this shit was personal. Like it was personal. Like Misa's chilling at Suge house. Faith is going to see Tupac. They're running in the same circles, guys. And so there's something about that feel personal. But Big is the only one that I could go to and be like, well, Big made Life After Death, even with Pac talking all the shit that he talked.
I agree, Coop, but what makes me not count that is because Big never officially engaged.
I don't. There's a lot of engagement. Brooklyn's fine. There's some rules to engagement. Brooklyn's finest is some engagement.
Brooklyn Bonnet
Long
was
Kiss
slick.
Goodnight is some engagement.
Yeah, it's slick talk.
Yeah, there's some engagement.
Like
Guns, I bust some problems with my wife. Don't
what
discuss
Jay say on Dear Summer, if it ain't directly at me, I don't respect it. So I think it was a lot of subs, and Big was very clever.
Hold on. And then
We knew
hold
it,
on. But Jay said that. But Jay also said to all y'all other cats throwing shots at Jigga, you only hit half the ball. Fuck y'all niggas. Right. It'd be convenient to say it. It's convenient to say it when Pac's the man and you're coming up, and then you become the man, and it's like, oh, y'all gonna get half a bar. That's why Jay only got the Hawaiian Sophie guy. It's like, you're not on Nas and Big level yet. Go step to the side and come back when you got. Right.
I just think the Big argument holds more weight if he would have went and Pac directly responded, but he handled it in his own fashion. It's definitely rules of engagement there, but it wasn't enough. Put it this way.
Also,
what
too,
Mobb Deep did on Drop a Gem on him was more direct than anything Big ever did.
Yeah, but how about this though too? Big was more in Drake's position where it's like, well, he had the boot camp click situation. He had the Ray and Ghost situation. He had the
Nas, J. Rue, the Damager. Yeah.
The Nas, the J. Rue shit. Like, kicking the door. Kicking the door is actually one of the greatest diss records of all time because what Drake was trying to do is actually what Big did with Kicking the Door. It's like, oh no. It's like, you want some? The Kicking the Door is who wants some? Come get some. Nas, you want some? Come get some. J. Rue. D&D, your little boot camp clip.
Masterful. What Drake tried to do on Family Matters, Kicking the Door is my favorite Big song, and he's going crazy at Nas, and Nas is my favorite MC.
If we're talking for three verses, if we're talking three verses, Kicking the Door might be Big's best mic performance, guys. This goes out for those that choose to
I've said it for years.
It might be King of NY. Fuck that. Why try? Throw bleach in your eye. Now you're brailing it.
Yeah.
Snatch that. In 88, sold more powder than Johnson and Johnson. Folks feel like Bronson, vigilante. Want to get
and Primo was funky on the beat, man.
Ain't no other king in this rap thing. They sibling. Nothing but my children. One shot, they disappearing.
They still using that line to this day.
Be on crummy shit. Took home, ready to die. Listen, study. Now they on some money shit. Successful out the blue. They lightweight, fragile. My 9 million make white shake. That's why my money never funny. And you still recruiting, stupid.
Yeah.
Shit.
And
that's what I'm saying. How can you hear Big on Kicking the Door and tell me that Hit 'Em Up is better as a diss record? How can you hear Big on Kicking the Door and be like, your reign on the top was short like Leprechaun?
I think people respect more saying names. Like if a name is not said, people don't respect it as much. I think that's the buy-in.
Names added more punch. Because that's what people want.
Sensationalism.
Kendrick said, if I catch a flight, it's going to be direct. I mean, that's what we're doing. You shouldn't have to decipher who I'm talking about.
Exactly. Yo, 17-year-old Shawn dissed Bad Boy. The first line 17-year-old Shawn said was,
Here we go.
I was like, bad boy. What you gonna do when I pull out the... Yo, I ain't gonna get into that. But that was in 90s. Shout out to 17-year-old Shawn bugging out. But
did you just shout out the 17-year-old version of yourself on this podcast?
He did. He really did, Coop. He really did that.
Okay. Did you catch that? Did you catch that, AG? He's like, shout out to 17-year-old Shawn.
I'm used to Shawn doing stuff like that.
Is this Shawn talking to Shawn? We're not talking about Shawn Carter. We're talking about Shawn doing the show. 17-year-old
Shawn. Shout out to 17-year-old Shawn.
40-something-year-old Shawn is talking about 17-year-old Shawn. It's the definition of nasty work.
Just that's crazy.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. So T.I., so I'll ask you about T.I. We'll wrap this up so we can get to our press play and get up out of here. Shout out to the chat, man. Again, subscribe, all of those things, share, like, all of those things.
Andrew is right. You have also shouted out the 6-year-old version of yourself dancing to Bootsy on the show. I'm gonna need you to let the formative year version of yourself. You're old, nigga. Let that shit go.
Shout out to those guys.
Let that shit go.
Yo, Shawn is in his personal end game. He's time traveling back, looking at himself.
Right. Shawn's like, I'm in my third person bag on HipHopTalks tonight. Shout out to 17-year-old me. 6-year-old me. Shout out to 50-year-old me and the DeLorean. Back to the Future, nigga.
Shout out to those guys, man. Shout out to those guys. But, yo, I want to ask you this because when Lil Flip, I would laugh because Lil Flip was trash, but Lil Flip, when he was going at T.I., and there was a lot of noise around T.I. being the king of the South. And I'll be honest with you, for me, being on the outside, I did not look at T.I. as being the king of the South. I didn't even like him saying that. I didn't like that at all. But I didn't know who was the king of the South. I just like him saying it. And I don't really know who it was. But when Flip threw him out there, and then Tip came back and released King. As someone from Atlanta, someone who was in the mix of all of that, where did that take you automatically? Did you feel like that's when he actually ascended to being the king of the South, or being like the person that he was projecting to be?
Okay, so I'm conflicted about this. First of all, I still maintain this T.I. is the best rapper to ever come out of the city. I don't care what anybody say. I don't want to hear that Andre 3000 stuff, because Tip got King and Paper Trail and trap music, and no. So
Urban Legend stuff too.
Yep. Urban Legend. I love Urban Legend. Urban Legend's a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah.
I probably listen to certain records on Urban Legend more than I listen to certain records on trap music, even though I think trap music is the better album. And so T.I. is the best rapper to ever come out of Atlanta. Atlanta is the mecca for Southern hip hop. And so in terms of all-time great Southern MCs, I have him extremely high, as in Scarface, Wayne, Tip. At this time, I actually had him ahead of Wayne only due to his legal troubles. Do I feel like Wayne is ahead? My only problem with him calling himself King of the South is that he did it in a time where I feel like Scarface had reached a status of an icon and a legend in this business and in his region, that he was actually that guy when T.I. was saying he was that guy. And so when you're talking about the little flip thing, that really didn't resonate with us here in Atlanta. We expected Tip to do what he did to Flip.
Yeah.
For us down here, his crowning achievement beef-wise isn't what he did to Flip. It's actually what happened to Shawty Low here in Atlanta. Because Shawty Low from the west side, just like Tip from the west side. And not to get too deep into it as far as these streets is concerned, Shawty Low was considered to be more well-connected than Tip. Some people say Shawty Low was the man on the west side. And so when Shawty Low popped up questioning Tip street credibility on his side of town and in the city, and Tip responded with Paper Trail the way that he did, that's when he became king to us down here, because his integrity and his street credibility had been challenged from somebody in the city who we knew and respected in the streets, not on some rap shit. And the way that he responded in the streets and on the mic, because I tell people, oh, Paper Trail might be his third or fourth best album, but if you actually want to talk about mic performance, the writing, much like Tupac on Me Against the World, oh no, that's why I picked I'm Illy as my bar seminar. You actually, I mean, I didn't want to tell you this, Shawn. You actually got a piece of it wrong, because he's actually dissing Shawty Low at the end of I've been all around. He called him Homie Low, not Shawty Low. That's what he's saying. He's calling him Homie Low. He's talking about Shawty Low. Yeah, you ain't even made it far as DC, Homie Low. I'm getting treated like a god. He pretty much saying, like, you talking this shit in the city. Understand, I'm the man in the city and the man everywhere else. You still a local nigga. So when he addressed Shawty Low, what up, what's happening? What up, what's happening is probably the most underrated diss record to ever come out of this region. And what's up, what's happening is kind of like Snoop Dogg's Pimp Slack. It's an all-time great diss record that nobody talks about. But that's when he actually became king down here to us. It's like, because his credibility was in question down here, and he responded in kind the way a fucking champion does. It is very like, it's like, remember when MJ was down 0-2 to the Knicks, and they're like, how is Mike going to respond? It's like, Mike going to ball so hard university for the next 4 games. Or when LeBron was down 3-1, that's what it was like when Shawty Low was coming for Tip inside the city. Y'all outside the city ain't hearing that and feeling that. We inside the city like, oh my God, like this nigga Shawty Low is popping up and talking cash shit about Tip. And this is after all of y'all are looking at Tip like the man. He's doing the Destiny's Child thing. He's doing Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the Chevy stuff. Y'all are seeing all that. We in the city. This nigga from his own neighborhood around, like neighborhoods and hoods that Tip was shouting out when neighborhoods that Shorty Low used to hustle through. You feel me?
Right.
That shit was a real problem for Tip in this city. When he handled that is when he became king to us here.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense then. So
yeah,
it
like
was
Lil Flip to us was like, oh, like the nigga from Houston. It's like only nigga we respect from Houston is Scarface. Next, this Shorty Low shit's a problem, nigga. You gotta handle this West Side shit. You gotta handle this West Side shit. Ain't nobody from your nigga from the neighborhood talking about you. He's saying you ain't from the West Side. He's saying that's your grandmama house and you got bust here. Streets would like to know. Right.
So y'all hold
like
that more than y'all hold that higher than the Luda battle with T.I.?
As far as the streets go, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The show. Ask anybody plugged into the street and hip hop side of Atlanta. The Shawty Low thing was the thing. The Luda thing and the Flip thing was the thing to y'all. The Shawty Low thing was the city thing. Because you can't be the man out here when you're not the man in your city, let alone the man on your side. And so he had to lay claim to his side.
Yeah, that's more street, where the Luda battle was more so on who's better at the time.
Yeah, that's a who's better on the mic
that's
thing.
Rap stuff. Rap shit.
Right, that's rap stuff. You king of the South. Shawty Low, like, you ain't even king of the neighborhood. Right.
You gotta take care of home first.
Gotta take care of home first. That's why can't be no simping and you're pimping at home, because here's the thing. Shawty Low, like a lot of people down here criticize Urban Legend for sounding too East Coast, too New York. That's when the problem started.
He was leaning into the Jay-Z of the South thing at that time.
Right. And that's when the neighborhood started taking shots. That's why you got to be careful about that shit down here. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's why I wanted to ask that from you, because I was an outside looking in. I knew some guys from the Mac Town from Macon, Georgia, who would always say, they were like, yo, Shorty Low was more dangerous to pop me to T.I. than Luda or Lil Flip or anybody else was, because Shorty Low had the streets on his side.
Right. So what is it? So think about this. How you gonna open up and start a club Crucial on the West Side when you got beef with another king on the West? You get what I'm saying?
Right. He was
like, oh no, that shit was bad for his business too, for his expansion, the stuff, the ventures, a lot of the stuff that he's doing business wise with Killer Mike, a lot of him being able to plug into the mayor. It's like, oh no. Shawty Low was shutting down his traction in the city in terms of what he was trying to build out. It was hurting his entrepreneurship, because the streets is like, you gonna let this nigga talk to you this way, fam?
Right. That makes sense. AG, I didn't have anything from West Virginia. So I couldn't put up.
That's wild. That is wild.
My bad. Okay. That was uncalled for.
My diss track to you is coming soon, though, so we'll put that together. You see my bar work. So.
little bar seminar from AG.
Them bars are crazy. Yo, let's get into the press play, fellas. Cool. Kick us off, man, with your press play.
Well, first of all, you all did a tribute press play. My first thought was, well, I'd like to do a tribute to Coop and Coop's rap career, but that's coming soon. Instead, I chose somebody a little greater than me, and I chose to pick my 5 personal favorite Tupac songs, because I listened to Me Against the World today, and it just got me to thinking about Pac and how legendary and iconic that he really is. And so I just wanted to give Pac some love today. Anybody that knows me, I know all of y'all joke like about the whole Coop thing and all of that, but he is actually one of my greatest inspirations as an artist, as a black man, as a thinker. I think he should be hip hop's logo, should we ever have one. And I wanted to pay homage to him by going through my 5 favorite Tupac songs. I'm a content guy, so if you were expecting to see Picture Me Rolling or Ambitions as a Rider or all About You and How Do You Want It, like, I love all those records. That's not what I listen to Pac for. With that being said, I'm going to I'm going to start in reverse, Shawn. I'm going to start with my number 5, all right, which is actually going to be My Block off the show soundtrack. A lot of people have heard me talk about this record. I talk about this record all the time because of all of his brilliant and classic records. I think this is the record that's been the least heard because it's on the show soundtrack. This is the Tupac that's on My Block. That's the Tupac that Biggie and Nas looked up to. And when I think of Tupac, he has a rhyme on there where he says, can't explain what attracts me to this dirty game. gold chains, some extra change, and the street fame. And I think that encompasses his perspective of what he was as an artist. Like, he wasn't the businessman that Jay is. He wasn't the technician on the mic that a Rakim was. He was somebody that really loved hip hop, guys. You know what I'm saying? It's like he really loved the culture. He really loved black people.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear that guy that loves hip hop and loves his culture and loves his people on my block. It's my personal favorite Tupac song, but I got it at number 5 on this list. Number 4 is Keep Your Head Up. I think Keep Your Head Up is his coming out party, quite frankly, as an artist. I think he's always talked with depth. I think this is where the content driven artist met the hit maker for the first time and created something. Like, all of his records after this, I feel like, are extensions of this. I Ain't Mad at You.
Mhm.
You know, like those records in that vein, they come from this record. I think this is the record where he found himself as an artist, as in, like, oh no, I can still have a message and make people sing along and make a hit and sell the records and sell out the shows. So I think this is a very important record to his career. My number 3 is I Ain't Mad at You. I know there are a lot of records that are bigger and bolder on All Eyes on Me. I still think this might be the best record on All Eyes on Me, because this is what I mean. This is Tupac, not Death Row Tupac, but Tupac on the Death Row album. And I think that if he would have been blessed with better production, listen to what I'm about to say, AG, because you're going to love this. Imagine, because to me, I Ain't Mad at You, content-wise, belongs on Me Against the World. Imagine if he had production like the production that Daz gave him on I Ain't Mad at You for Me Against the World. That's why when I tell people, it's like, oh no, I Ain't Mad at You is a Me Against the World track. But imagine if he had that type of production on Me Against the World. That's a top 5 rap album. I Ain't Mad at You would be my example given of that record of what Me Against the World.
I never thought of that, but it's very much in that vein. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very. We was once 2 niggas of the same kind, quick to holler at a hoochie with the same line.
Yeah.
That's Me Against the World, Tupac.
Yeah,
You was just a little smaller, but you still roll. Got stressed to YA and hit the hood swole. Remember when you had a Jerry Curl? Didn't quite learn. Off the block with your Glock tripping off Sherm. Collect calls to the tip saying how you changed or you a Muslim now. No more dope games. Hope you might be coming home. Just got bail. Want to go to the mosque or want to chase tail. Seems I lost a little homie. He's a changed man. Hit the pen and now no sinning is the game plan. That's not Death Row Tupac. That's I'll be against the world Tupac.
Facts.
And that's what I'm saying is that no, that guy with great production. Oh, he's the best MC. Yeah, he is. Yeah, that guy behind great production, the best MC, and I Ain't Mad at You is the proof. Yeah.
But let's give some respect to Johnny J though, man. Johnny J was doing his thing, man.
Johnny J. Okay, so here's the thing. This is no disrespect to Johnny J. Johnny J is great. Tupac is 1 in a million. Guys, and so he deserves 1 in a million.
You got to match levels, so you got to match
right.
levels.
He deserves 1 in a million production. So no, it's like if we're talking producers, it's like no, he deserved Dre, he deserved Preem, he deserved Q-Tip and Pete Rock and DJ Quick and Large. Like he deserved those guys all the time, the time. No disrespect to Johnny J. Yeah, number 2, most people's number 1, Dear Mama. Might be the best rap song of all time. I don't know what else to tell you. They should teach. How about this? Lupe should be teaching classes about Dear Mama. Fuck all that scientific rhyme and breakdown shit. Teach a class about Dear Mama. Yeah, fuck all that scientific rhyme and teach a class about Dear Mama. No, I'm serious. Fuck all that scientific rhyme and teach a class about Dear Mama. Teach a class about something about that really matters.
But you can't teach emotion.
Actually, see, here's the thing. You can't teach emotion, but you can get people to understand the depth of emotion.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
It may not be something that people can replicate, but you can get people to understand it, which means it need to be taught.
Yeah.
Yeah. And number 1, AG, you and I have the same favorite Tupac song. That's So Many Tears. I'll never forget the first time I heard So Many Tears. I was chilling on the west side of Charlotte. I was at my mom's friend's Betty Jean house. We another hood, little neighborhood, little Chinese spot around the corner, little liquor store around the corner, typical neighborhood shit. One of the niggas outside bought a boombox and he was grilling on a little cheap ass grill. The first thing that he cut on when he cut on the boombox was So Many Tears. I was sitting inside watching Rap City. So Many Tears was playing. But here's what brought me outside. The niggas outside was talking about Tupac and how much they love Pac. These was OGs. You know what I'm saying? These wasn't like young dudes. These was dudes like in their 40s and 50s talking about how real Pac was and how much they loved Pac. And So Many Tears was the record that they was playing that night because they was like Pac speaking for the G's. You know, and these was old dudes in my neighborhood. I'm like 13 years old at the time. Brothers outside like 40, 50 years old. You know, they sitting outside smoking weed, drinking 40, smoking Newports, you know, your normal hood shit in the early 90s. But Pac was that dude even to the OGs. And that's what I remember about So Many Tears. He wasn't just the man to our generation. He was the man to the generation that was preceding us. Like, they played his shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I always remember being like in the neighborhood and on the block and like the OGs playing So Many Tears. It's like we was playing it, but the OGs had really lost a lot of dudes in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? They really felt that record and related to that record. And now I look back to the people that I lost now that I'm like, because now I'm at the age now that them dudes was when I went and chilled on the block with them that night. You feel what I'm saying? I think about all the people that I lost now, and it's like, oh no, I see why they felt that record so much. It's very, very real. So
flawless record. Flawless record. Dope top 5 too.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with Pac.
No.
Never go wrong with Pac, man. You know, if not for this Nas run, still deserves some GOAT consideration. Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. That's what I mean about this Nas run, and I don't want to hold it too wrong. That's why this Nas run is so important. It's like, oh no, if you told me before this Nas run that Pac was still your GOAT, it's like, oh no, I give you that.
Not mad at that at all.
You deserve that. I ain't mad at you.
Pun intended. AG, what you got, man?
Yo, for mine, we lost one of our greats last week, Roy Ayers, rest in peace. And I mentioned on the show last week that one of my favorite just songs of any genre of all time is Everybody Loves the Sunshine. And it's just one of those feel-good records. I don't care if you're in a bad mood, you hear that joint, come on, man. It's like, it's one of the joints that just bring a smile to your face. And I wanted to honor Roy Ayers by some of my favorite hip-hop songs that sampled or interpolated that particular song, Everybody Loves the Sunshine. So to kick it off, I got J. Cole, Rags to Riches, off his debut mixtape, The Come Up. You know what I'm saying? Where he took the sample of the beat. And young J. Cole was doing his thing. He's not the lyricist J. Cole that we know now, but this is still a dope track. You know what I'm saying? So that's my first joint. Second joint, Coop, I believe you'll like this one, is Lost Souls by Tupac and the Outlaws off the gang-related soundtrack. Yep. Now, one thing about this, I don't think this song gets talked about enough, but here's the kicker. Pac has so many gems on soundtracks. I'm just thinking in real time, I think he has the best soundtrack catalog there is. You know what I'm saying? As far as you pulling their soundtrack records, I think Pac, it might be number one.
AG, you're right.
Yeah.
He's got Pain to pour out a little liquor on one soundtrack. That's enough to beat most of the that's enough.
Yes, and that's what I was about to say. You talked about your Tupac top 5 songs. Pain would be number 2 on my list. And that's off a soundtrack. So there you have it. But the gang and part of that reason why he has so many dope soundtrack songs, because, you know, let's be honest, he was starring in a lot of these movies he's on the soundtrack. Very, very talented brother, you know, so that's another one that interpolates Everybody Loves the Sunshine with the hook on that one. Number 3, a couple weeks ago, we waxed poetic about Naughty by Nature. So off Poverty's Paradise, I got the song Sunshine by Naughty by Nature. So I talked about on that show that Naughty by Nature doesn't get enough love. So I wanted to give them some love in my press play with that record. And to number 4, thank you. And to number 4, I got a song of the same name, ironically, that we talked about the anniversary of it today, Scarface Sunshine, which is one of my favorite records on the Untouchable.
Hey, can I tell you something? When I saw that you were doing the Roy Ayers tribute, that was actually the song that I thought of, because I was like, oh no, Sunshine's on the Untouchable too.
Hey, I'm a Scarface guy. You probably would have been disappointed if I didn't pick it.
Well, no, I actually, when I saw that you were doing Roy Ayers and that we were covering the Untouchable, I'm like, well, AG's picking Sunshine, which you did.
Oh yeah,
so that's what I figured.
100%, had to do it. Yep. And last but not least, more recently, Common and Pete rocked. This is one of the no pun intended, but shining moments off the Auditorium Volume 1. When the Sun Shines Again. That's one of the best songs off that album. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it got nominated for a Grammy. It didn't win, but I think it got nominated. But yeah, that's the last one I got in my press play. One of the Honor Roy Ayers with those hip hop songs that sampled Everybody Loves the Sunshine.
That's dope, bro. Dope, fellas.
Love
Mine was more, I wanted to slow it down a little bit this week because I wanted to pay homage to Dwayne Wiggins. Rest in peace to the legend, man, from Toni. God bless his family, those who are impacted and who are affected by his passing.
That's Raphael Sadiq's older brother, correct?
That's his older brother. Yep, that's his older brother. So I
the
had
original Tony.
The original
founder.
Tony.
Yeah,
Oakland's
founder of the group. Correct. The founder of the group.
Oakland's finest. Phenomenal musician. Had a chance to see them in concert about 2 years ago in Columbia, South Carolina, man, at the Township Auditorium. Very intimate setting. Had a chance to really vibe out with those guys. Very, very good, great concert, and just had a chance to just see him, man, in action before he, his health declined. So my ode to him is just some of the songs that he penned from Toni. And Whatever You Want. It's one of those. Man.
Love Whatever You Want.
Whatever You Want.
Love that record. Yes.
When you hear that song live and you hear the instrumentation, this guy was a true musician. He done a lot for Beyonce, for Destiny's Child. You read some of those stories, you're like, damn, he never asked for anything in return. He just did some great things for people.
Just real quick, Shawn, I think people forget this. He's the musician in the family. Raphael Sadiq has voice and the writing ability.
Mm-hmm.
He has the voice and the writing. And usually when you have the voice and you're the writer, you're going to be more notarized, but he is the musician. So all those funky ass grooves that you're hearing, all those guitar licks,
it's him.
Like and most of their hits are famous for the guitar licks. Yep. That's the guy playing the guitar.
It's him. Yeah. And
those are his riffs. Those are his riffs, and those are original riffs. Those aren't samples. That's him playing the guitar. Accomplished music.
I seen it live, Coop. Two years ago.
Musician, yes.
Accomplished, and his pen game is crazy. So the songs I selected, his pen game.
Yeah, about to say, and he co-wrote most of these hits with his brother, and wrote a lot of these. Whatever You Want is one of those that he wrote. Yes,
and my 5 are the ones he wrote, and Whatever You Want is one that he wrote.
Yep.
Lay Your Head on My Pillow.
Another one.
Come on. What more can you
say?
This is
their banger.
Yeah. Banger.
Great song, man.
He's the lead musician on this joint. Just Me and You. Think about the soundtrack that it came from.
This might be my favorite Toni record.
I'm about to say that's on my favorite 5 Toni records. Yeah, Me and You is my shit.
It's Anniversary.
Banger after banger after
man.
banger.
We just talked about this with Freddie. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
You want to know what? Look here. You want to know who they are? They're very much Freddie Gibbs of like R&B bands for their era, because it's like people be. How about this? Give me Jodeci, and I'm biased because we knew them in my family, and they are from Charlotte, North Carolina. But outside of Jodeci, I'll take Toni. Yeah, outside of Jodeci
was everything.
Outside of Jodeci.
You know what I'm saying? Like Jodeci, man, they do the spit the game for you to the ladies back then. You just play the record. You ain't have to say nothing.
Say nothing.
No, Toni did the same thing. They just did it the old school way. They actually are the extension, Shawn, of the Isley Brothers, of the OJs, of that classic soul and actual making love songs. Like, think about this. These songs that you're naming, these are love songs that don't get made anymore. It's our anniversary made for me and you.
They were dignified. They, Toni was on some courtship records. Jodeci told you what it really was. Like, what kind of time?
Just me and you.
This is an impeccable list, Shawn. Those 5.
There are not many groups that can go into the studio, lock them in, and they come out. No help, no engineer, no producer, no outside interference.
Okay, but here's where they had Jodeci beat. Oh no, they could do the slow, funky love song stuff, but they could kick the tempo up. Let's get down.
Yes.
If I had no loot.
If I had no loot.
Yo, that used to ring off everywhere.
If I had no loot was the jam. It Never Rains in Southern California is their first single. Like, they got bangers, y'all.
I could have gone so many different ways with this because the bass is so it's out of this world.
Yes,
I mean, you're talking about true musicians, and to watch them play as musicians play in concert, it takes it to a different level.
I can remember when they dropped Sons of Soul. My aunt Wanda bought the album, and I used to play, and I asked her why she liked them, and she said they play instruments the way the bands that I grew up on play instruments. I'll never forget when she told me that, because I was probably about 10 when that album came out, and I asked her why she loved them so much. She's like, they play instruments. She's like, they play real live music. Now, this is 10-year-old me that doesn't understand the difference between somebody programming stuff on a beat machine and somebody playing it acoustically live. But then I got a little bit older, and I was like, this is what my Aunt Wanda was talking about.
Yes.
And they were that. They were that deal. And Shawn, you're right. They were probably better live because of that than they even were in studio, which is saying a lot, because you just named some very, very, very classic records.
Facts. Absolutely. So that's my press play. Rest in peace to Dwayne Wiggins, a freaking legend. You know.
Yeah, rest in peace, Roy Ayers, Dwayne Wiggins, Tupac, cool.
Yeah. Big's mom, Violetta Wallace, who was laid to rest yesterday. Angie Stone last week. Lost some legends.
You know, Faith did a real classy thing that nobody's talking about, and so we can talk about it right quick and then leave it like this.
Yep.
She was awarded Big's estate, and she split it with Big's mother when she didn't have to, at her own volition, because she wanted his mother to take part and take place in his legacy. And so her name, and us knowing her name and being familiar with her name all these years, has a lot to do with the fact that, well, all the projects that have involved Big, well, they've had to run through her, but that's because Faith made sure that it was that way, and Faith didn't have to do that. So on a day like today, when we're talking about diss records and talking about some of the nefarious things that have happened, understand there are two sides to every coin, and we need to shout out Faith for including Mrs. Wallace in her son's estate, so that we're all acquainted with the woman who birthed arguably the greatest MC of all time, because we're not as acquainted with her and familiar with her if Faith doesn't include her. And so we do need to shout out Faith for that. We know who Miss Wallace is because of Faith, not because of Big. We didn't know who she was when Big was alive. We know about her because Faith has included her in his estate. So shout out to Faith.
Absolutely. And we have we had another super chat came through on.
Okay, if it's from Matt Max, that's not a real super chat. Okay, it's not a real.
Come up for Double.
It's a terroristic threat.
Shout out to Double, man. Double always showing love.
He's dope.
So I'll take Blueprint 2 over Blueprint 3. Blueprint 3 has no B-sides. Blueprint 3 was
I'm getting
real time.
Okay,
decent.
First of all, Double, you're shady, and apparently your ears are like Stevie Wonder's eyes. That's what I'm going to tell you. Your ears are like Stevie Wonder's eyes. That would make you. That would make you Helen Keller. That would make you Helen Keller. Have a good week.
Color do special. Yo, color double.
We just got flagged.
Yo,
definitely just call one of our biggest contributors, Helen Keller. Definitely not making any money.
Crazy.
Definitely not making any money.
Falco for the $20 super chat and a salute. We appreciate you, bro.
We're gonna need all the super chats we can get. We won't be making any money off the views from this show. YouTube's gonna be like, this nigga said Helen Keller.
Because beyond media call him Daredevil. That's crazy. Yo, we appreciate all of you guys. Thank you all for pulling up tonight. We had triple digits all night. When you guys realized we were popping on. We appreciate you. Beyond Media just gave us a $20 super chat.
We'll need all the money we can get.
Appreciate you, but we gotta recoup.
We're definitely gonna be needing attorney money to pay some of these estates off for slander and defamation real soon.
Well, look, GM James probably gonna get us taken off the YouTube airwaves.
Oh, facts. You know that's gonna happen. For real.
First of all, hold on. Maya the Prophetic asked a very poignant question that I do feel the need to answer.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder's lately or Jodeci's lately? Understand I'm from Charlotte, but I'm not stupid. That's not a conversation.
Stevie, man.
I don't do that to me because
I'm from Charlotte, but I'm not stupid. If we're picking a song that Stevie Wonder did, and whoever covered the song after Stevie, understand the answer to the question is Stevie, and that's no disrespect to any of those artists. None of those artists are Stevie, including Jodeci. All four members. Look here. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I will take Stevie Wonder over all four members of Jodeci. It's like if you tell me it's like Coop, you can't have Jodeci, but you can have Stevie. It's like, go ahead, tell them niggas I say goodbye. Tell them niggas I say goodbye. Be like, I see you on the west side of Charlotte. I see you at the chicken coop and at Mr. C's on LaSalle when it was there. Peace, nigga. Stevie.
I'm taking KC.
Shawn.
Nigga, you can take KC, KFC. I don't care. High C, nigga. Stevie. All right.
KC.
Hear what you say.
Yo, KC. Far frequently. Oh, man, come on, man.
Bring them niggas.
Yo, let's get out of here before he shout out 19-year-old Shawn or however old he was when he was listening to that.
Oh, trading all them niggas for Stevie.
Oh, I told my
words that. All right, now, if you want to keep Bobby Womack punk trifling ass instead of KC, Bobby Womack ain't shit. But KC, no, I don't receive it.
I'm taking KC straight up and down. Yo, but
like I said, KC, KFC, don't matter.
I saw when he actually got into the he's in a hospital right now. They say he having some issues. KC.
Oh, word?
Yeah, KC.
Well, prayers up for KC, man.
KC. He's gonna take KC from. God dang.
Yeah, man, I know KC
of all time. Don't do this to me.
I know some things you don't know about KC, so you know.
Oh yeah, I was in the KC concert too.
You know what I'm saying?
He got on his bodyguard shoulder, like literally on his shoulder, walking through the crowd. And I was like, "That's the best."
Okay, so since
like
I'm giving out Atlanta,
look,
real quick. So since I gave you an Atlanta history lesson, let me give you a Charlotte history lesson right quick. The group is called Jodeci because it's JoJo, Devontae, and KC. Dalvin wasn't in the group. You want to know why Dalvin wasn't in the group? Because KC was beefing with him about a girl and pulled out a gun on him. This is when they were in high school. This is before Jodeci existed. So Jodeci was actually 3 members, and it wasn't until KC stopped the beef about the girl that it all stopped. But KC been a crazy nigga from day one, and this is from my cousins that went to high school with him. It's like, well, he pulled a gun on Dalvin, so that was a little bit of a problem with Dalvin joining the group because KC didn't want Dalvin to be part of the group. Devontae had to convince KC, I need Dalvin in order for this shit to work, and it's only when Dalvin became a part of the group that they took off with KC's crazy gun-toting ass long before y'all knew who Jodeci was. Been a crazy nigga from day one. History lesson over. Glad you learned some more about the west side of Atlanta and the east side of Charlotte. Coop anytime.
Ask Mary and Case. Case and KC got into a fight. I mean, KC was wild, man.
First of all,
shout out to KC. KC, he's my number 1 R&B singer of all time. Personally,
number 1
all time.
Vocally, he's up there. He's up there. As a vocalist, he's up there.
Yeah.
So we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you all for hopping in the chat. We still got triple digits tonight. We got to get out of here, fellas. Any part of words? People should showing some love right now. Any part of words? Anything?
No, peace and love to everybody, man.
And it means so much to me.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing more precious than to raise a family.
You got Ill City.
If there's any doubt in your mind.
Yeah,
Ill City, what up? Appreciate the support for the city of God. What up, Ill City? Hold on real quick. And Shawn, I Am God texted me yesterday. The homie Rufus is about to drop his project. We need to get plugged into that and pull him up soon. But we need to make plans to go to Chicago this summer. Shout out to Ill City. Shout out to I Am God. People under the stairs, all them people. Everybody out there. We need to pull up there. I told I Am God we coming this summer. We need to come.
We do. We got to go there. We got to go to Vegas because we still got a guy out there who wants to help him with the production of his album, the A&R of his album. So shout out to him as well. So we got some work to do. First of all,
if we go to Vegas, I'm going to tell you like Zsa Zsa Gabor told all your folks, no pictures, please. No pictures, please, if we go to Vegas. No pictures. You haven't seen me in Vegas. Okay. There's ATL Coop. There's ATL Coop, but then there's West Coast Coop. We don't take pictures of West Coast Coop.
No, West Coast Coop is crazy. Y'all got to be thinking, man, Love You for Life might be my favorite R&B song of all time.
Love You for Life is up there.
No,
it might be. It might be my favorite of all time.
All my life. What are we talking about?
What about us fiending?
All
my
my
heart belongs to you.
97.
My heart belongs to you might be the best start off to an R&B album.
Dude, I wanted to propose at 17 when All My Life came out. I'm like, I need to get married.
No. I didn't want to do that. That's crazy.
All My Life came out. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna marry you. I'm 17 years old. I need to figure this out because I just heard a song. I just heard All My Life. I have my best basketball game after listening to All My
Sean's talking about all right. It's time
to go. Basketball game. Thank you guys for coming out to Hip Hop Talks. Click like and subscribe to the page. If you'd like to hear more stories from Shawn about his basketball career, don't subscribe to our page. Run, nigga. This is me blinking twice.
Shout out to Dawn from In Vogue. Shout out to Dawn for In Vogue as well.
Yeah, she fell on hard times, right?
Hard times, man. I hope she can bounce back and get back in the track.
Dawn from In Vogue fell on hard times.
Yeah, she was living out her car for the past couple of years now.